Fear not, for you are found. You are home, and there is no going back. No one leaves this place. But what is this place? The answer is Tux Nation. Surrounded by a strong, positive community, Tux Nation lives on the edge of the known and unknown. It is the collection point for all gamers searching to be part of something greater, like you. And here you are significant. You are valuable. Here you are loved. And no one loves you more than the TuxedoBandido. He is the original, the first player one, the creator of the Players Club and the father of the Bandidos. Where once you were Han Solo, now you are part of something. You are part of the Bandidos. Congratulations. You will meet the TuxedoBandido in 5 seconds. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. You are now meeting the TuxedoBandido.
Did I scare you there? What up, Bandidos? We are live. It is Saturday, September 2nd, almost 6 p.m., streaming live from the Pacific Northwest. That's Portland, Oregon, for those of you that know where this small little city is on the Pacific, sort of. Anyways, today we have a fun little subject. I've kind of had this on the docket for a little bit, and that is we are going to be getting into gear set backpacks specifically. You guys know what I'm talking about? Gear set backpacks. So yeah, gear sets are, you know, this green stuff you see popping up in your game. It might be different depending on your platform, the color, or if you have your colorblind mode on. But yeah, green for me on the Xbox, that's what I play on. And so, you know, these comes in sets of 4, right? So you get, basically when you farm this stuff out, you try to fill in all your slots so you have options for each one of your slots. And of course, the basic 4 pieces like your mask, the gloves, your knees, and your holster can all be combined to give you the 4-piece talent, which is each set has a unique talent. And for the example I'm wearing here, it's called Headache. But when you run the backpack and or chest, you can unlock an additional unique talent. Yeah, and so you don't need to run both of them to unlock those talents, and that's confusing for people. And some people believe or are confused about the 4-piece talent. So for example, in this case, it's called Headache, and I just want to make sure this is clear for all the new players. To unlock Headache, you do not need your backpack or chest or both. You can get Headache just by running any 4 matching gear set pieces, right? In this example. Okay, so I need 2 pieces to unlock the first attribute, 3 to unlock Headshot, and then 4 pieces to get Headache. Okay, so then you have the backpack, right? So if we put on the backpack, then we get a backpack talent as well as the backpack itself contributing to the 4-piece bonus, towards the 4-piece bonus. And so in this case, it's called Blessed, right? And in each gear set, backpack has a unique talent that usually complements the 4-piece bonus, or whatever you want to call that, 4-piece talent. That it's unique to the gear set. And then you have chest pieces that do the same thing. So the chest piece will also contribute to the 4-piece bonus, as well as unlock an additional talent, right? Because chest pieces and backpacks usually have a talent, so they don't want to take that away from us. And so in this case, it's called From the Shadows. That's a different gear set, of course. That's for Umbra. Now, so for today's in today's mission, we're not going to worry about the chest pieces. We're going to do that separate, because this is going to be a big construct if we include the chest pieces today. Okay, so what we're going to do is specifically rank the backpacks. We're going to discuss the backpacks and what they bring to the table, and then kind of put them in sort of a hot or not list, or a good, how do I say, probably a bad, a good, and a great list. Kind of just like A, B, and C kind of thing at the end of the day. And so we're going to approach this kind of categorically. So we're going to start with the damage builds and then work our way through the team support builds and then the specialty builds. And those are gear sets I'm talking about specifically. So when I say damage, that includes like Hotshot, Aces, Striker, Heartbreaker, Umbra, Hunter's Fury, Tip of Spear, Rigger, and Hardwired. And then from there, we have True Patriot, Negotiators, and Ongoing Directive, Foundry, Future Initiative, Cavalier, and then our outliers are Eclipse and System Corruption. Eclipse can kind of be a damage, or it can be, you know, because it can go to damage and a status effect, so it's kind of an outlier, but it's a team support build, so it kind of falls in the tail end of that category. And then System Corruption is very PvP, and Cavalier is basically PvP too, but it's kind of plays this hybrid. It can also be used to buff your team from hazard protection and skill damage, even in PvE, even though we don't need that much. So anyways, I appreciate you, Vody. Thanks for that Prime sub. Appreciate that. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you guys coming in from this. So hopefully we can get through everything. I have most pieces of all of these sets. I think Rigger is not one I carry around either. It's hardwired, so I'll end up crafting those. And then there are a few that I just don't have backpacks for. I think the only one that I'm limited to is Aces, and I'll have to farm that. I wonder if it's on here. Because Aces is one of those that's like locked. You have to unlock it, and I don't know why I haven't. I've completed enough raids to unlock it if that's the case, and same with Tip of Spear, but for some reason it's locked. Oh, but there's Aces right there. But I'm probably not gonna worry about that today. I'll probably just skip over it and then throw it into the mix a little bit later. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with Hotshot, since that's what we're working with. That's what I have on right now. So let me go ahead and construct a build. So don't worry about the builds too much. I'm just gonna kind of put together average builds or some of my favorite versions of the builds. But this isn't going to be a build showcase, so don't get too caught up on it. All the builds are will be functional. You can certainly copy the builds if you like, if it looks like something that you would want to run. And for most of these, I will make sure that the build makes sense so that the showcase of whatever the backpack is doing for the build will also make sense or be put into its best light. I think that's what we want to do, to be fair, is to let that bad boy shine. So let me just, I'm just gonna go ahead and run a standard mask here. Okay, so we're gonna run Araldi for the mask, and then let's just go ahead and run all headshot damage. Just keep it simple and straightforward. Cool. And then for the weapon, we will do the White Death, and then 20 rounds and the stability, and then this has determined, and then I might change that. But then we got the Nemesis, that doesn't matter. Sharpshooter, that's important to complement the build. And then our talents here, which is the Fixer and the Decoy. Okay, so let's take a close look at what this gear set does. Hotshot, it's in the damage set, and it's particularly designed for snipers. Okay, so we got, and it's a gear set that's really good and suitable for all content, including Legendary group. Very strong, and it buffs you in different ways outside of just damage, because you only need so much damage. You're pretty powerful in this class. So we get 30% marksman rifle damage. We got 30% weapon handling. 3 pieces gives us 30% headshot damage. Right there is a lot said and done. You can also run this in a 3-piece and be pretty happy with it. The talent's called Headache. So I'm going to summarize this real quick. The first shot does nothing. The second consecutive shot gives you 20% more damage. The third consecutive shot will give you 10% armor on kill, or armor on hit, that is, or 10% bonus armor. And then the consecutive shot after that will then be a refill on your magazine, and then every shot there forward will give you all 3 buffs at the same time. Pretty cool, right? And then you got your typical slots here that you would expect off of any gear set backpack. And the talent is Blessed. Okay, so that's special. That's unique. You cannot get blessed any other way besides running this Hotshot backpack. So agents can miss a headshot before resetting the cycle. What is it talking about? Well, this is a complement to the 4-piece bonus called Headache, right? So this Headache works based off of consecutive shots. If you're not getting consecutive shots, you need at least 2 in order to get the damage buff. If you're not getting that, then you might as well not run 3 pieces. So this is making the 4-piece talent really obtainable. Now, what I should say, the downside of running any gear set backpack over a brand set alternative, such as Araldi, what's probably going to stand out to you is that you'll be down a attribute, right? As you can see, there's 2 attributes on the left and only 1 attribute on the right, and then the mod slots. Well, you might say to yourself, well, whether I'm running the backpack or that 4th piece as like a glove or a knee, then I'll still be down that 1 attribute no matter what. It'll even itself out. Yes, usually that is the case, but there are instances, and Hotshot is one of those instances, where you could forego the 4th piece and still get the benefit out of the gear set by just forgetting about the 4-piece talent. So in other words, you can run Araldi here and still have a really good build. You can't do that, or you can do that with any of the gear sets, just to be clear. But a lot of the gear sets, it's either run 4 pieces or don't run it at all. In many situations, okay? It's not a rule, it's just that they shine as a 4-piece. And that's the devs' way of making building a little bit more straightforward and streamlined for the community, because it gets complicated when you start adding and stacking things up and building things from scratch. And here it's just a simple recipe. Make sure your colors match, the brands match, the gear set matches. Anyways, that being said, so Blessed, right out of the gate, got bad reviews, or really just got dismissed, okay, by a lot of the community, and me included. But eventually I discovered it's actually a really good talent. Now, for the most part, Hotshot is, as a 4-piece set, is actually can be very difficult if you're not, I should say it this way, if you're not running Determined, or what I also like to say is the Mantis. And that's because the decoy really changes AI behavior, and that makes the gear set's talent headache more achievable. And then you include that Blessed, then it becomes really good, and you can maintain your headache stacks easier because of that miss. And the reality is many times, I mean, that I'm averaging a 50% shot on target ratio. In other words, I miss one, land it, miss it, land it, miss it, land it. And as long as you can maintain that, then you will always be maintaining your stacks. Of course, land, miss, land will also do the same thing. So this is giving you some grace. And when you see all that this offers, then you're gonna find that this comes in really handy. Now I'll showcase this, but what we have to talk about is the alternatives. What are you missing out by running the backpack? And then that is going to dictate a lot on whether these backpacks are hot or not, for the most part, because you might have some really good alternatives that you just can't ignore. Okay, and so sometimes what's driving the backpack, besides what it actually does for the gear set, could also be because of something in one of these other areas. For example, if you wanted to run the Coyotes mask, then that forces you not to be able to run the Hotshot mask and pushes that 4th piece either on your backpack or your chest. And that is what can make the backpack a must run, because something else is best in slot in a competing space. But for Hotshot, you're not really up against that for the most part. And so you do have sort of sky's the limit on sniper build. So what it's competing with is Vigilance. It's competing with, see if I have it here, Bloodsucker. Yep, there it is. There's the other one, Bloodsucker. So those are 2 really good options for snipers. For one, you're playing from cover, and Bloodsucker is that bonus armor that really works best from cover. And that's because you have to stack those kills up, and if you lose it or take it away, or from like chasing enemies around or whatever, it times up pretty quickly. So I like this one specifically from cover, because otherwise, if you're running and gunning, then you might as well just use the Memento backpack. Okay, that's the way I look at it, because that bonus armor is better, plus you're getting damage and whatever. So Bloodsucker is a great backpack option for snipers, because you're earning bonus armor, which allows you to stay out of cover and keep picking off enemies. Vigilance is a great option because it's 25% total weapon damage, which is a nice damage we like to see on builds. And you're not worried about it being disabled, because once you earn chain killer capabilities or headhunter, you don't care about any damage on your build. You don't. And so having a damaged backpack can sometimes feel like a shame. because once Headhunter kicks in, it takes over in the damage department, and whatever damage you have coming out of your build elsewhere has little influence over it from that point forward. You'll notice that you'll hit at, like, let's just say 25 million, and then your backpack turns out to 25.2, 25.1, 25.3, very small changes. And so your other options are going to be for backpack talents when running the sniper build is really the memento, which is sort of an off-meta approach because that's going to be really unique to a gameplay style. But even if you're playing from cover and stagnant, you're still going to pick up all those trophies at the end, and the armor regen and damage can't be taken away from you. So the enemy can shoot you, but it's not going to go away like vigilance. So those are your three alternates. But this is really good because, like I said, you don't need damage if you're playing from cover, especially. You don't even need bonus armor. And so you don't need damage and you don't need bonus armor. And so what you need is utility, and that backpack talent Blessed is contributing to the utility that Headache is providing, which is some damage, yes, recovery, which is important, as well as auto reloads, which is really awesome, and then all three at the same time. So reality is that Headache in itself is sort of the memento to some degree because it comes with damage and armor on kill and bonus armor, but you need to be able to achieve it, and that's what the backpack is doing for you. It's helping you achieve it. All right, so let's go put this to work and showcases a little bit of that. Let me get out there. I probably have to reset my map. I'll take off the directives. No need to do that for this. And then apply that. Yeah, we're gonna quickly get through the snipers and then we'll head over to the assault rifle class. So this will only take a couple of minutes to showcase. Okay, let me just reset the map now. All right, there it is. Let's get out there. Okay, so I'll actually switch over to the Mantis because it'll make it more apparent whether I'm landing the shot or missing the shot. But of course you can run it with the White Death and Determined. But because Determined helps out so much, I might be landing too many shots. But missed shots, so what's unique, there's a couple of different things you got to be aware of when you're looking at the Hot Shots gear set. For example, one is missed shots for Hot Shots talent called Headache also includes air shots, where when we think about missed shots in the realm of sniper builds, we usually think of Headhunter, and Headhunter doesn't include air shots as missed shots. It only includes body shots as misses or tech. Okay, so there, oh, I got the talent still on. It doesn't matter, I guess. I gotta turn off the game mode. I'll do that for next round. Okay, so I used up my stack, but so there's two in a row, and as you can see, I get this little skull stack in the bottom right corner, right? So if I miss one, I still have it. And then if I miss again, it's gone, right? So it gave me that free miss. And I'm not gonna use my healer right now so that we can see how the gear set heals you and how the backpack contributes to that. So there's one, so I got it. So now let's heal up. So I'm gonna turn that, and then I'm gonna move because we have a glitch on this gear set right now. That. Brilliant. So there's my miss. So now I have to be mindful of that. There we go. So I maintain. So one of the things I want you to notice is on the damage department, we're doing everything that we need to do. And then the question comes down to, do we need more damage? And would those damage backpack, or I guess I should say it this way, will those damage backpacks be better alternatives than the utility of what Headache is giving us? Or the Miss Shot, which is called Blessed. But you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, let me turn off this game mode because our headshot damage is stronger than it's supposed to be. Let me turn this off. And the enemies aren't even here.
You can't be any geek
Greg,
off the
appreciate
street.
you, bro.
Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean.
All right. Yeah, I just realized forgot that it was giving us that headshot damage buff.
Hostile control point nearby.
So we should still be strong enough, of course, because we're running a pretty clean build here. But I'll display here. So these are the damage numbers that we worry about with a sniper build. And as you can see here, we're playing in heroic solo. And so the damage that we need is only 9.8, or let's just round it up to 10 million. And then from there, it scales basically up to about 25 million. So, hold on, let me turn that off. There we go. So when we look at our numbers here, the numbers aren't going to change on the build, whether you go up or scale up with a group or whatever. It's the enemies that change, not you, right? So, so if we have enough damage, so our damage numbers, I guess is what I'm saying. Like if we have 25 million here, then we're gonna have 25 million in a 4-man group, and we're gonna have enough to get the job done. So there's our miss. Get a clean shot. There's a hit. Sure aren't reacting to my decoy as good as they usually do. You know, because they start running around like maniacs.
Reinforcements en route.
So there's a hit. So as you can see the bar, we're full there. So what's going to start to happen is, there's a hit, miss, I mean. What's going to start to happen is refills and bonus armor. It just took my thing away? Is that right? It did. I didn't have 2 misses, did I? I guess we're starting over. There's 2. Very easy to earn your stacks too with this gear set, by the way. 3 in a row. And that was a reload. Miss. Miss again. part of the reason why I like this backpack talent is because, you know, you earn those. It takes like 3 or 4 shots to earn that peak capability, which, like, right there, I just lost it, or I could have potentially lost it, right? And I still have that chance to redeem myself, is what I just did. So now I redeem myself. Now I have an opportunity to miss again. And so since it takes 3 or 4 kills to get to the peak of that, then it's really nice to preserve, I guess, that effort. And then as I'm thinking out loud about like where it sits on the ranks, you know, good, bad, whatever, it's definitely not bad because it works. And it's also, you know, I think one of the evaluations are going to be elements that I think are important to evaluating these are how easy it is to acquire that talent's capability. And it's pretty easy because it's grace, right? It's grace. So it's a forgiveness stat, making it exceptional. And sort of unique. It's sort of like Striker used to have that. I think that was Striker's old capability, right? So as you can see, we're maintaining a perfect streak now, and that bonus armor doesn't go away. It's not on a timer. So it's a contributing factor to that. And so, is it great? Well, you know, is it top tier? Whatever we're gonna end up calling that. I don't think so. And the reason why is because I think it would have to be like basically best in slot for the sniper set, this sniper set, hot shots. And it's not. Because you have so many other great alternatives and flexibility. So it kind of probably falls in the middle of the road. It's going to be like a really good option, but not required. And one of the reasons why is because so many people are probably running Determined on their sniper builds. Nowadays, it's basically like Determined in so many ways. Or it complements it, at the very least. But I think in order to be top tier for a gear set, it'd probably have to be best in slot. And I would say it's not. But it's a really good option, especially if you're not running Determined and you're decided to run a 4-piece hotshot set. If you're not running Determined, so that makes it conditional upon that, where some of the other gear sets aren't conditional. And so I'd say that this is probably in the middle tier for gear set backpacks as its ranking. But definitely not bad because it really is an asset and complements that headache and makes it more obtainable. And the talent itself, which is called Blessed, is also really easy to obtain. Yeah, and then I still wouldn't necessarily say it's not the best because you could be running Vigilance or the Memento, which I do like better. I gotta say, I do like the Memento better. I do, especially, and I like the Memento better than Vigilance. But it's mostly because, well, and the reason why I don't want to compare it to that is because you don't have to run those backpack talents either. People are just conditioned to doing it. And the other thing is, it's a lot closer to the Memento, really, in concept, because it's performance-based. It's performance-based. The whole gear set is performance-based, right? Striker kind of isn't, right? Striker, and that's why Striker's so good. It's not performance-based. Hunter's Fury is performance-based. And so that's why Hunter's Fury is amazing, but some players aren't that good with it because it's performance based, and especially when you're new and you're still kind of learning the ropes of the game, you might find yourself dying a lot with Hunter's Fury, right? Fog, you know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm sure there's people out there claiming that the gear set is, you know, a meta, and then at the same time, you know, they die 6 or 7 times and they're, you know, inside a half hour's gameplay. You know, and it doesn't make it look very good. And that's because you have to have skills to use it. It is performance based. If you don't get the kill, you don't get the power up. If you don't get the kill, you don't get your armor on kill. And so, and Headache is the same way. But the good news about Headache is that there's less pressure because you're not in the kill box. I think that overall that snipers do lack in the skill backpack department. I mean, it's basically Vigilance or Bloodsucker, really, to be honest. I mean, what else you got, you know? I mean, none of the other ones really make sense. I mean, there's Concussion, but then you might as well run Vigilance. I have found with Vigilance over Concussion that Vigilance maintains a better uptime, because Concussion you have to earn twice, and then you have to continue to earn it because the timer on it is so short. But so really, I mean, you got you do have Companion, and you do have what's the one where you're in cover? Whatever, but 15% damage isn't that appealing, and again, you don't need more damage. What I need is a heal here. So, I mean, this is a board full of elites here, and so we just hit 16 million right there. Here's my miss. $18 million. So it does cap your damage with this gear set. Oh, I just messed up. So with that damage, you already have enough damage at 18 million to two-shot a Chunga in Legendary with a 4-man group. Or really close to doing that, because it takes 18 million to break his helmet.
Heavily armored hostile detected.
19.4. So you see what I'm saying? Like, if you put on Vigilance, yeah, you probably get a little bit more damage, but it's not gonna really make that much of a difference in the gameplay, if at all. 19.8, so that's 20 million right there. So that's enough damage to... Should be able to take the boss out with that, depending on the boss. $19.1. All right, so there's a boss.
I'll keep an eye on you.
80.5. She's still standing. Let's kill her. Ooh, an exotic. Yeah, so really useful backpack. Definitely not top tier. This is going to be a middle tier, so we'll call it good. So we'll call it bad, good, and great for the moment. And so that's where this one falls. It's a really good option, especially if you find your build doesn't need any more damage and if you're playing from cover. That's the best use case for the Hotshot Backpack Blessed. Okay, let's move on. Let me go grab my gear, though. Because, you know, no waste. I don't really need that stuff.
Supply room access unlocked.
Yeah, when evaluating backpacks, it is though really hard to ignore your alternates, right? And so I think it is part of the equation. It's difficult to isolate it and say and evaluate it just on the backpack itself, its performance and how easy it is to achieve. I think that you do have to look at the alternates because it's a gear set. It's not just a 4-piece brand build right from scratch where you have so many options. The gear set, you're locked into 4 pieces. So that leaves only 2 pieces of flexibility. And I think that might be a factor, right? Okay, so let's reset that. Let's head over here because I'm gonna need to change my specialization. So I'm gonna skip aces because I don't have an aces backpack. That tells you something. So yeah, braces on the chest. Good one, Mad Mardigan. But that is on the chest, yeah. Overwatch is on the chest, but yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I think Unstackable has the higher... Unstoppable, I think, has the potential, but you got to earn it. Yeah. I mean, I've never actually done a testing between the two, but in theory, it should, right? Because it's total damage on top of total damage on top of total damage. Or does that all accumulate in the same bucket? Actually, now that I think about it. Hold on a second. Let me swap this build out. Okay, so next on the list is we're going to go Striker. This one should be relatively straightforward. Let's see here. So I should have, I moved a lot of things over so that we're gonna minimize fast or traveling between characters. So you get the 4-piece together. I'm not gonna run the chest piece. Of course, it's a little too much work anyways. And then I'm gonna avoid running exotics usually, unless it's kind of mandatory for a setup. But so I'm just gonna kind of go relatively generic. So like Cheska Grupo kind of thing. Or Fenris, whatever. Let's see what I got up here. Just because I don't want anything else to like steal the show during discussion. All right. Apparently I don't have a lot of other options. All right, let's switch that chest piece out to, let's see if I got a Grupo here. I do. So Grupo Obliterate, Cheska Mask. Pretty straightforward setup. And then weapon. Excuse me. Gonna be assault rifle, something clean. Yeah, let's just do the invisible hands. Pretty straightforward. And then crit, stability, I'll keep that there. Rounds, and so we're at 54. We'll push that to 60. Why not? Push that backpack to crit damage. And then, yeah, it's fine. I can leave that backpack there. Well, I'm in that knee. So I'm gonna throw a shield on, and then let's just go ahead and put on gunner. So we need to make sure we got assault rifles, which we do, and pistol, shotguns, which we do. Yeah, I think, yeah, Strikers is an interesting one because, you know, it's going to be a tough one. It's a tough one, actually, to talk about because you have no idea how many times I get that comment. Oh, my God, guys. I get that comment so often. If you're not, you have to run the Striker backpack or you're missing too much damage on your build. Like, that comment is so frequent, it's insane. And it's sort of like, are you though? Are you? You know what I mean? It's just like, because, for example, like, you guys ever run the Memento? Like with your Striker build? I mean, I get way better time to kill and damage figures with Memento. Why? Because I'm grabbing fresh damage trophies. You know what I mean? And so it's, but I don't know how you like to describe it. Well, but I guess we should save the discussion. Let's go ahead and jump into it first. Okay, so this is the Striker's gear set, of course, and we are running, oops, almost a 4-piece set. Let me get this one on here. There you go. Okay, so we're running a 4-piece Striker set, and as you can see, that's going to give us weapon handling, rate of fire, Striker's gamble. Now, Striker's is a damage gear set in its purest form. Okay, so everything about it is damage. It's a red. So we got weapon handling, that's a damage contributor. Rate of fire, a damage contributor, right? Weapon handling helping you faster reloads, chain your sustained damage better, continuous fire better. Rate of fire is more burst damage. Weapon handling is more shots on target. So great stuff. And then Striker's gamble, weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, and stacking up to 100 times. And then you have your 1 stack lost, and then 2 stacks lost at those higher stacks. And then, so yeah, you get all of that no matter which 4 pieces you're running, right? As long as you're running 4 pieces. Now, what the backpack is bringing in is more damage. And this was a change. It originally didn't give you this with the gear set, and they modified it recently to do so. So increased total damage gained per stack of that 4-piece talent called Striker's Gamble from 0.65% to 1%. So that's an increase of damage by 0.35 or 35%. But as we were discussing earlier, and I think like what Fog is saying too, that's a contribution to damage that you already have. It's going into the same type of damage. It's adding more of that type of damage, putting it in the same bucket. So it's really interesting, but it gives you great damage results. And it's actually, if it actually holds up really well to some of the alternatives. So let's talk about the alternatives, all right? So what do we got? What do you typically see on damage builds, right? So let's just go through the usual. So we got vigilance again. Actually, let's take this into the crafting bench because it'll be easier to demonstrate all the options. Oops, recal library, talents. Okay, so looking at damage talents or defensive talents only, but you got Bloodsucker. Okay, so Bloodsucker is a great alternative talent for your backpack. It's a non-damage talent, but it is contributing to your time to clear by giving you some shielding on your front and your back, depending, doesn't really matter if you're taking that damage, it's gonna help you, right? So even if you're running a shield, it's to protect your backside or when your shield breaks. And so that helps you, that contributes to you clearing content faster. And so you do have to ask yourself, does my build need that additional damage to perform excellently, to clear content quickly? Is it contributing to me playing faster and to staying alive, more importantly? And then you got versatile, you got vigilance. So versatile's weapon-based. Vigilance is, I think, a really good one to compare to the backpack. This is 25% total weapon damage is very comparable. The difference is that vigilance can be disabled. The other one is earned. And earned very easily. So I think that when weighing the backpack against one of the best damage talents in the game, Vigilance, I really, really like this one. I would say that the Striker's backpack is better because the enemies can't take that away from you. And I really like that about any talent, right? Those that are conditional on damage are difficult to manage. In some cases, I guess. Vigilance, if you're playing from cover or if you're running a headhunter build, then you're not worried about it. Opportunistic, weapon-based, so it's not as versatile. Unstoppable Force isn't bad, but you also have to earn it to acquire it, but it requires kills, so it's a lot more difficult. The Striker's backpack is easy. Point and shoot and just land shots. Composure is really easy. So composure could be looked at while in cover, increase total weapon damage by only 15%. So I think the backpack is going to get you there. And plus the backpack is good whether you're in and out of cover. It's non-conditional. Companion, conditional on you running a drone or being next to somebody. So there's that. And then concussion is good damage too, but it's focused on headshots. Conditional to you landing those, of course. Wicked is good for running status effects. Again, conditional. Clutch is for heals, and Adrenaline Rush are good heal options. But I guess, you know, if we look at why people run Striker, a lot of it's for the damage. The question is, where is your other survivability coming from? And this is the hardest thing about this backpack, okay? So, is that it's in a place. This is what sucks about this backpack. Okay, so this is the downside. I'm gonna give it to you here. It's in a place where your survivability would otherwise be outside of damage. Now, let's kind of imagine in your mind a survivability pie, and time to kill is the biggest slice of that survivability pie. But there are other important elements in this game besides damage that contribute to surviving. One of those is armor, right? There's no point in running an all red build. You don't need to. You are powerful enough to put a couple of armor cores on and not even notice a difference in damage. Except if you're looking at a spreadsheet, a piece of paper, or standing in front of a paper target in the testing range. That's the only time you're gonna notice the damage difference. But when you're out there actually killing something, you're not gonna miss those 2 red cores at all. So the downside of this backpack, and it's a kind of a big one, is that if you're an aggressive player like me, the memento is going to be better all around. It's got 30% weapon damage. Plus, if you're going to run an all red build, another 30% weapon damage that's stacking on top of that. You know, and so that's a big deal. If you've ever run an all red striker, if you're an aggressive player and you run an all red striker build, okay, you're going to notice the way you perform with and without the memento. It's a game changer, the memento. And so that's the downside of this, of course, like any gear set, okay, is that that the backpack is really important for survivability additions, okay? And not just because of the memento. That's just one example, but Bloodsucker, Adrenaline Rush, they're all back there too. Clutch, it's on your backpack also. And so if you need to bring in survivability, where are you going to add it to your build? Where? So you have your chest piece, but the chest offers really weak options to additional survivability in the form of armor or bonus armor or recovery or anything like that. Weak options. There's not any really. I mean, you'd have to run tardigrade, right? Basically. So if we look at chest talents, this is what you're up against. This is your problem. So when you're wanting to go out there with the best build ever, I mean, you got basically unbreakable, which I personally don't like because you're basically dead in order for that to kick in, and not almost. And I rarely get there. The protected reload, weak, because it comes and goes. I mean, efficient is more armor kits. Not really worth it. I'd rather just stick to damage. There just never seems to be anything that's really worth it to add to your survivability. Now, I know a lot of people like Unbreakable. That's a preference thing. You know what I mean? So by all means, I used to run it when I started this game, and I just kind of learned that I didn't like it. And I do like it in PvP. But yeah, so this is a tough one. That's the downside, is because look, Okay, let me just break it down for you. This is a tough one. Striker already has enough damage on your build. So when you're running a 4-piece striker, to get that a really good build, you're not looking for more damage. You're looking for else, okay? You're looking for whatever that else is. You're looking for faster reloads, more shots on target. You're looking for bonus armor. You're looking for armor on kill. You're looking for strong heals. You're looking for everything but damage, because that's what Striker's good at, guys. A 4-piece striker brings excellent damage to the table that whatever this backpack is bringing is non-essential damage. And that's the key word. This is non-essential damage that you're picking up in exchange for dropping a critical slot to your additional survivability. So you're talking like the Memento as an example, or if you don't like Memento, look at Bloodsucker. If you don't like that, look at Clutch. All of those are great options, okay? So that's the hard part about this it's good damage, it's better than Vigilance, but it's non-essential damage, because the 4-piece striker, if you put Striker on your mask and take off Vigilance on your backpack, that's just as good of a build, right? Just as good of a build, unless you play on paper. If you play on paper, then you say the Striker's backpack is a must-have, and to ignore that damage is impossible or whatever. But that's not the case. It's not the case at all. And so, so let's talk about those additional ways of contributing to your survivability. Now, the truth is that armor sucks in this game. And the only reason why you really want to run armor is that you want to keep your shield from breaking. That's the only reason why I'd run armor in this case, okay? Because when that shield breaks, it's painful. And so let me just go and put that chest cut mask back on. There we go. And so when that shield breaks, it's painful. And you just take what I call lots of micro damage in this game. Okay, so the thing, a lot of people that put together these an all red build, they like to pretend, or sometimes they don't notice that they're constantly taking damage. You're constantly taking damage. You're killing, it doesn't matter how well you're killing, you're constantly taking damage to the point where you're gonna drop on your knees. To the point where your armor breaks, to the point where you use up all your armor kits, you know? And so that's why, so you got to protect your shield, so that it can absorb that constant, what I call micro damage. So you kill that enemy, but he got 2 shots off on you. And remember, each one of those shots has the same value basically as an armor core. So I have 2 armor cores, which means I could take 2 to 3 bullets and lose all my armor cores. And then the rest is going to be gone in about 3 or 4 bullets too. You can't afford micro damage on an all red build. Eventually you're going to be popping armor kits, and holy crap, if you're an aggressive player, the time it takes to put on an armor kit is forever. It really is. But more importantly, it suppresses you in fast gameplay. And me, I like to go fast. I like to play fast. I like to clear content quickly. I don't like to be slowed down because I have to hide, and that irritates me. And so I like to build around my playstyle. So that's what's tough here. I feel like the Striker's backpack is great for when comparing it gets additional damage options, but not when looking to improve your build based on your playstyle that might be aggressive. So it's great if you're relaxed. It's not so great if you're aggressive. That can change depending on the content you play. For example, if you're playing on Legendary in a team, you kind of have to pull back your aggressiveness, sort of. What I mean is you're playing from cover more. You're not running and gunning so much, unless you're fast playing. But like, and so in that case, since you're not getting out to grab your trophies anyways, or because the backpack doesn't get disabled like Vigilance does, and is more than companion and is more than composure, yes, this backpack is your best option in those scenarios. However, it still competes with the Memento that cannot also be disabled, that also gives you 3% armor regen, a blue core and a yellow core on top of a red core. And even if you're not grabbing those fresh trophies, you know, you're not gonna miss that additional damage that risk management is giving you, because again, it's non-essential damage. Let's go put it to the test. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's in a tough spot. It's in a tough spot. The funny thing is, if you listen to what I'm saying that Striker is so good and brings so much damage to the table that it weakens the power of, or how great the backpack could potentially be. Or let me put it this way, it weakens the necessity of the backpack. I think that's the way to say it. It weakens it from being best in slot. But again, that is going to be based on how you play. I do think that if you are playing from cover for whatever reason, whether you're a relaxed player or it's because you're playing in group and the content is forcing you to play in cover, then it does become pretty much best in slot back there. But if you're an aggressive player, do a lot of solo play, then you might find it as a weak option for you. So let's go ahead and build up stacks. All right. Because I gotta tell you, like, I hardly run the backpack. I do run it sometimes, but I hardly run it. And I don't really feel like I'm missing the damage at all. I mean, I actually feel way stronger running a memento. I actually feel more powerful with the memento. Where is that person? I can see her. See how squishy you are? Wouldn't it be nice to have some bonus armor and trophy? Come on, get up, lady. Oh my god. God damn, she will not get out of cover. It's really annoying.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
I really started liking this gun, the invisible hand. It's a really good gun. I was sleeping on it for so long. Shit, look at these guys. Where'd they come from?
Serious trauma.
Oh, and I'm down.
Agent incapacitated.
See, I play really aggressive, but I sort of had to, right? Because I was getting pressed. I got a resource convoy from behind me. Striker always feels good, though, doesn't it? You match it up with the right gun and... unstoppable.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Incoming hostiles detected.
But you can make it work for your playstyle. It just requires a little more, what I like to say is a little more perfection out of you, right? It's because when you're not running bonus armor and running and gunning, You gotta be fast. You have, more importantly, good situational awareness, knowing where your spawns are gonna come forward, knowing where the enemies are in relation to where you are and the enemy that you're focusing on, right? Sort of who you're gonna go to next. And that keeps some of that micro damage on. And that's because if you have enough damage, then you can stagger the enemies from shooting you, which is your weakness. Your weakness isn't, again, lack of kill power or even armor on kill. 10% armor on kill is plenty on a build that does well at killing, right? It's the micro damage. That's your weakness, and that's what why the bonus armor or clutch is critical, or more armor on kill, you know, is critical. So let me ask you this: like, what you see some people doing, a popular tactic is they'll negate that micro damage by adding more armor on kill in other slots, like the chest piece and the mask in this case, by running like 2 pieces of Bellstone or Xena to compensate. Where you could just instead put Striker on your mask and then run a Memento or Bloodsucker or whatever your other alternates are. So let's talk about the key points when we look at evaluations, like whether it's a named item or an exotic. One of the things is how well it performs, and this performs excellently. There's no doubt about it. The other is how obtainable is the talent. Super obtainable, point and shoot. So out of the 3 categories, it performs like an ace in those 2 categories. So that's got a strong what did you say, benefit to put it top tier, because it's like performs like 10 out of 10 on those 2 things. With its only downside is that it's hard to ignore some of those additional capabilities, but that doesn't make the backpack bad. That just makes your situation, that just makes it just like anything, really, real situational based on your playstyle. Because I can't say the Memento is best for everybody, because some playstyles or the content you're engaging might not make that a good match. Where this backpack, technically, I was just playing aggressively and out of cover, and I got it to work without changing much of my gameplay. I just had to watch my shield a lot more to make sure it didn't break, and shoot first. But that's my strategy in most gameplay anyways. That is a big part of your defense. Shoot first, because then you're gonna stagger and then kill, or you have a better chance of staggering at all. But I would put this on top tier. I would put it on top tier. So I said all the goods and all the pros and the cons, and you know, it's top tier because of all the reasons that I just said. One, easy to acquire, and its performance it does exactly what it says it's gonna do, you know, and it performs well. All you gotta do is point and shoot to earn it, which you're doing anyways. It's just in addition to that. And when looking at the alternatives, it basically beats out any of your damage alternatives. Let's just admit it. It beats out Vigilance for the most part. They can take that away. Composure forces you in cover. Only works when you're in cover. Companion, you have to have that companion thing, and this is more than companion. So I think it does beat out most of the things. The only downside is that it's in a spot that is best in slot for bringing in additional types of survivability, and it's Striker's fault that it's so goddamn good that you have enough damage where you don't need more damage on your build to get that godly I terrorizing everybody. What you need now is benefits like bonus armor. You know, so, but that is somewhat conditional to your play style, because if you're a relaxed player, you might not agree with me there. You might say, I don't need any bonus armor. I'm playing from cover all the time anyways. Totally true. Maybe clutch would still work. You still need some sort of heals, right? So anyways, I would put this at top tier for sure. I'm sure most of you wouldn't argue with that. A heartbreaker, shall we? Yeah, good one. There's striker, insert favorite gun here, and go. So I think Heartbreaker is going to be an exciting discussion. It's an interesting backpack. Let's grab this crap and get going over there. Kind of excited to talk that. Heartbreaker. I'll try to switch up the control points too. It's just easy to fast travel here. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get an Ace's backpack while we're at it, huh? That felt fun though, by the way. You guys should try that combination. The striker with the invisible hand. I did come up with a build for that a few weeks ago. Okay. Hear that. And then I think we go here for Heartbreaker. That's a good point, Fog. Yeah, preservation on the weapon makes the backpack work. But that's sort of like what I was saying earlier. You know, it's the same thing as I was saying earlier, though, right? Like running 2 pieces of Bellstone also makes the backpack work, right? I mean, I was running 1.1 million armor there, and we were hitting over 1 million. And if I picked a stronger weapon, we could hit even harder, right? But then that's the same thing. Putting preservation here or running 2 pieces of Bellstone. What you're doing is you're compensating for not running a defensive talent back here. Why not just run? Let me just visualize it for you. Why not just do this? I mean, now we're running 1.3 million armor, and we've maintained our red core and the 30% weapon damage, and we're grabbing fresh trophies at 20% a pop. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but my point is that for what I demonstrated, absolutely, right? Of course, we're in the memento. But for the relaxed players, which is what I think we encounter a lot of, over half of you are relaxed players. Over half of you are. We did a poll, and it was greater than 50% consider themselves relaxed players. You could also call relaxed players tactical players too. That's the other word for it. What it means is you're really playing zonally and sticking to cover a lot more. And obviously I bounce in and out of cover, but I'm always on the move, you know, so that's sort of the difference. And so it's for, if you're playing zonally from behind cover a lot, then you're not going to need as much bonus armor as I would. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't change much. Okay, Heartbreaker, shall we? Strip my slots. Okay, so Heartbreaker. Actually, I do need to go to the other station. Hold on, guys. Because we're going to have to change our specialization. What up, Braylon? Eclipse Protocol, Foam and Fire, Survivalist. Yeah. But there's you got a good one there, Emil. And we're gonna come to that. Eclipse, the Eclipse backpack with foam, or Eclipse backpack in general. Do you want it? Do you not? It's a pretty damn good backpack. It's 30% amplified damage, most damage on any backpack, as far as I'm aware. But I gotta say, It's conditional. And what are the conditions? Your skills got to do damage, or you got to be running the vial. So if you're running Riot Foam and no vial mask, then that's probably a bad backpack. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. If you're running status only skills that don't do much damage or any damage at all, then that backpack isn't super helpful. But you know, there's most skills do damage, so that's very limited. You know, you got what doesn't do damage, basically blind and foam. EMPs do damage against the tusk, so it is a little helpful there. Okay, so just looking at this, we need assault rifles and shotguns. Okay, good. Ignition. Heartbreaker. Did I clean that slot out yet? Yeah. Okay, so we can get rid of. Put that on. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Bring in the Heartbreaker, bad boy. It's always fun running Heartbreaker, isn't it? I'll go and run the typical Kingbreaker here. That's what we usually go with. And then we're gonna put the laser pointer. Stability, I like that on mine because Kingbreaker's a beast. Let's go. Run the chest on this one. It's hard not to. I find with a Heartbreaker, not running the chest is not usually my favorite thing to do. And then up here we can run Cheska. And then down here we can run Grupo or the Picaros. I'll do that because we need at least one armor core. And 60% crit chance, so we are high there. Where's a 60 and 81 crit damage? Let's shift some off here. Still high. 54, 105. That's probably close enough. We'll leave it there. Got our shield, and we got technician, and then we need to put the laser pointer here. I should run one more armor core. Let me see if I got that. Let's see that, and I'll take off the Hasbro. Good. I'll try to keep 1.1 million armor on all the builds if it makes sense to do so, just to keep them all pretty standard. A lot of the community likes 1.1 armor. All right, so here we are now with the Heartbreaker gear set. Really, really good. It's a nicely balanced offense defensive gear set. It's actually pretty high damage and just under what the Striker set can do. Often getting very close in damage numbers on both the DPS side of things and high crit values like what Striker can do, but this is technically less damage than Striker. So we got assault rifle damage there or LMG damage, so you can go either way. We got weapon handling just like Striker, and then Heartstopper This is where it gets interesting. So headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds. And then weapon hits on pulse enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to those enemies. They must be pulse, up to 50 stacks. And then 2 stacks are lost each second, but very easy to maintain. And so since you're having to pulse things anyways, then Technician's always a good option. That's what I'm running here. And then the Kingbreaker is often paired with this gear set because it applies amp damage to those same pulse targets. So that's what we were running here. And then I am running the chest piece because it increases the stacks to 100. I really like running this chest piece, but we're not going to focus on it too much. It's just sort of a standard for a lot of my Heartbreaker builds, at least. And then the backpack. So focusing on the backpack again, the talent. This is interesting. Increases total bonus armor gained per stack of Heartstopper from 1% to 2%. Okay, so 2% per stack. So here it says 50 stacks. Now you're getting 2% on 50. So you're getting 100% bonus armor just because of the backpack. When you run the chest piece, that increases all of your stacks. So now it's 2% of 100. So we're going to have 200% bonus armor. That's even more amazing. But what's important to know here is it's bonus armor. And one of the best bonus armors you can get in the game. It's the only way to get bonus armor as far as I know without getting a kill. And so this is proactive. This is a proactive shield. Very hard to find this type of additional survivability. Very, very hard to find. Look at your alternatives. Hunter's Fury, reactive. You get 20% armor on kill, right? So this is all you got to do is point and shoot, and then from there you're just maintaining. Striker doesn't give you anything, just damage. This gives you damage and bonus armor, and the backpack enhances your bonus armor. Umbra gives you heals, but that's reactive, right? You had to have taken damage in order to heal up. This prevents damage to your white armor. What else do we got? There's lots of other things out there too, I'm sure, but this is the only one that gives that kind of bonus armor. The Memento, requires a kill. Bloodsucker requires lots of kills, and then you got to maintain it before it runs out in 10 seconds, right? That's pretty cool. So, I mean, that is cool, but this is cooler, is what I mean, because you don't really have a timer on this one. So, yeah, so that makes it very, very good option. And I got to say, I know this backpack really well. And for me, this is top tier. This is top tier. This is just as good as running the Striker backpack, except it's on the defense side. Again, because your build is coming with enough damage already that you're at a place where you can now start looking at your other types of survivability. Let's go demonstrate that, shall we? Yeah, but the proactive thing is really unique. I mean, Hot Shots is kind of that too, but it's still performance based, and so it really separates it. So a Hot Shot, remember on that third shot, it doesn't have to be a kill. You just have to land that shot, and you'll get your armor or bonus armor. But it is still performance based, and you did definitely have to earn it because you had to get 3 shots consecutively to even get there. So this doesn't. We're gonna land this. Let me make sure I got my. All we got to do is point and squeeze the trigger. You don't have to earn crap. Now, Hunter's Fury has something like that too, right? Now, Hunter's Fury has damage that you don't have to earn. So it has something similar in that regard. Hunter's Fury's got that passive damage just by standing there inside 15 meters, you get 20% amp damage. That's the best kind of damage in the game. You don't even have to shoot to get that damage. Obviously, you're going to shoot, but you don't have to do crap. So look at this. Insane. That's insane. And we're not even halfway or about halfway through those stacks. Let me just, and the best part is it's so easy to maintain. But the other cool thing is we're not just earning defense when I do this. I'm earning offense also. 1.2 million. Look at that. I mean, do you feel like I'm running 2 armor cores here? But let me tell you what, I don't feel like I'm missing out on the striker gear set right here, right? Heartbreaker is very comparable to striker, as much as people don't like to admit that. Does this have to be for out of cover type play? No, absolutely not. It actually works really well from cover 2. It's just going to determine how much armor you're going to need to actually run on your build, and also if you need the backpack. But the gear set itself, gear set itself is suitable for whatever play style, but because of its bonus armor, it just makes it enticing to get out of cover, I should say. Really? Did you see that fucking shot? That was bull. Look at that bonus armor. That's insane. I gotta reload. Tons of survivability. I mean, I feel more godly with this than I do with the striker build, you know, personally.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.
And that's because I think bonus armor is really valuable in this game because you take so much damage in this game. I mean, you're always taking damage. You're outmanned, you're outgunned, out-armored, you know, and that increases your armor pool, which in turn is going to increase your confidence and your playstyle performance. I mean, we're hitting at 1.2. I don't have any complaints. I mean, you can opt to go shieldless with this build too. And the bonus armor also opens up additional type of damage because it's such a steady source of bonus armor. You could look at things like, I'm forgetting the name of it. The chest talent, Intimidate. Yeah, so you can look at Intimidate options. So you're also opening that up. This is one of the best sets that the game has brought to us. I like to look at things in terms of memento, as you know, and in a funny way. And this is basically the memento of gear sets also. And the Hunter's Fury is like that too. And in any gear set that is memento-esque, tends to be really good in the game and the players really enjoy it. So I can drop my shield because it was in trouble. Give it a chance to heal. Now we're in trouble. Now we're in trouble.
Agent deceased.
But I think we saw enough, right? We need to go back here. What up, Six Blades? Yeah. You can also run this Wild Weasel, good point. Liquid Engineer or the Memento is always good with this. One of the reasons I gotta say that this backpack is really good is because finally I feel like even more so than Striker, now Striker's, you know, we already covered that, but even more so than Striker, this backpack gives me a reason to stash my Memento. Because it is so much bonus armor and it's so proactive that it's one that, in my opinion, actually competes with the Memento. Now, I still sometimes run the Memento with Heartbreaker because it's nice to have two different sources of bonus armor. So that, just like you're saying, running Bloodsucker, Perfect Bloodsucker, is also nice because now you got two sources of bonus armor, which can make you godlier. And the Memento brings you the other cores, which means your shield without running any other armor on your build, just the Memento is going to be at a tier 3 shield because you're also running Technician. So the Memento is always a damn good contender. But this gear set alone is a Memento. It's got damage, it's got bonus armor, and technically it's got a skill-based item, which is the Pulse. Now, which isn't very handy, but there it is. So it's really good, but it is absolutely godly in the bonus armor department, so much that why else are you running Heartbreaker? I mean, that's a real question. Why else are you running Heartbreaker? If it's not for the bonus armor, then put it away and put on Striker. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Honestly, I mean, I can't think of another reason. If you're not running this for the bonus armor, put it away. The Kingbreaker still works with Striker. If it's because of the Kingbreaker, you can still run Technician in the Kingbreaker. But this gives you damage, but Striker's giving you more damage. Striker's also giving you RPMs. And so don't tell me you're choosing 15% weapon damage over 15% RPM. That's additive weapon damage. And, you know, RPMs contribute to that burst. It's a burst damage stat. So it's yeah, I don't know. Why else would you run this set if it wasn't for the bonus armor, right? For the balance of things. That's really why, right? That's a better way to say it. But the bonus armor is it is the shiny piece of this gear set, and this backpack is taking it to the godly level. And so it's amazing. That's what makes the whole gear set stand out, and the backpack is not a must-have. You could actually, as a matter of fact, a lot of my builds don't use the Heartbreaker backpack. It's not a must-have, but it is definitely a great option because, as you can see out there, 1.2 million in damage. We were not hurting in damage, and I was running two cores here. So, I mean, you should be happy with 1.2 million in damage with a group or solo. You can take off cores if you want to, but if you feel like you needed more damage, and you feel like you didn't want to lean into the bonus armor, if you're not going to lean into the bonus armor at all, you might just consider your other options like Hunter's Fury, Striker, or Umbra. Honestly, this build set is about bonus armor. This backpack is perfect. So let's talk about our factors. How does it perform? Amazing, godly. How easy is it to acquire? Extremely easy. Point and shoot, right? And it's enhancing what this gear set is designed for. It's a whole gear set's about bonus armor. So I think that this backpack is on the godly tier. It's right next to Striker. And it's, but more importantly, I gotta say, might even be better than the Striker when it comes to adding to a build because it's in the spot where you want your defense to be. That one spot. I wish it could be elsewhere. I do. I wish it could be elsewhere. I wish that defense could be on the knees. I wish that defense could be on the gloves, but it's not. It's always on the backpack. And even the Catharsis mask is an alternate, but if you're on the go a lot, you know, you miss out on that heal, so it could be very unreliable. So the backpack is the spot to put that most important additional level of survivability to turn you into a Division 2 god, and this is exactly where it needs to be, and that's why it is better than Striker's backpack option, because Striker doesn't need any more damage, but that's what the backpack gives you, which is great, because it is better than many other damage alternates. But most builds need some additional, most strong builds, which Heartbreaker is, I should say, most strong builds are now ready for additional levels of survivability. That slot is always coming in through the backpack. It's always the backpack slot that provides that option. And that's exactly where the backpack sits. That puts this on the godly level, or the great. We're not doing godly. It's going to be bad, good, and great. And so Striker's in the gray area too. And this is going to be right there next to it for sure. So do not miss out on a Heartbreaker backpack on any build. This is a countdown build for you right here. If you're doing countdown, this is an easy one. It's my go-to. You can push your armor up too if you want to, or you can take it down a little bit. I wouldn't recommend going less than 1.1 armor, really. Should we do Umbra next? Gory, you're everywhere. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for that.
You can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean.
So a lot of you veteran players know a lot of this stuff, I realize. So hopefully you're finding my perspective helpful, but your insight's great as well. So feel free to drop notes and other viewers can pick up on your 2 cents. Let's make a little bit of room here. All right, so next is Umbra. So let's disassemble this one. That was fun, by the way. Tempted to play more with that. It's always fun to run this set, you know? Don't you guys find that? It's just, I like the Striker set too, but just, there's something to say. Okay, let me say it. One of the big reasons why Heartbreaker can be considered better, this is off the usual discussion, is that Heartbreaker has a more visual reward along with that fast time to kill. You know what I'm saying? That bonus armor is an indicator of how well you're performing. In a funny way, it's a reward system, bonus armor, right? And so that's also one of the reasons why I like it. It's got a nice little system built into it to say, you're doing really well, buddy. Let me pat you on the back with some bonus armor. Okay, so let's find a really good weapon. Do we have our it'd be nice to run this with the vector, particular vector.
You can't be any geek off the street.
Oh, Taku,
Gotta be
you're
handy
back.
with the steel,
Making
if
it
you know what I
rain,
mean.
bro. Say thanks to Otaku if you guys get a gift. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Let's go
Can't be
pick up
any
a couple
geek
weapons
off
if
the
you guys
street.
don't mind.
Gotta be handy with the steel,
We're
if you
gonna
know what I
need 'em
mean.
anyways.
You can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel,
Yeah,
if you
that
know
is
what
a
I mean.
beast there, Hoondog. Yeah. What do you remember the damage that you hit with that combo? Do you remember that? I think the
can't be
highest,
any
it's been a
geek
while,
off
but
the
I think
street.
the highest,
Gotta be handy
I
with the
remember
steel,
the
if you
set
know
being
what I
able to
mean.
go, was it 1.7 something? 1.7 million? That's pretty damn high.
You can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean.
That one is fun, Ricardo. Have you tried the, I got a couple of those. I did the Umbra Striker, the red version. I also did the skill version with the capacitor. That was a crazy build. You got to run that one for Golden Bullet, especially. It's insane, but it's actually fun to just do. If you guys just like putting together really fun builds, I mean, it's not going to be the meta, right? But looking for just like new fun and exciting ways to play this game, like you got to check out that build where you run the capacitor, ninja bike backpack, 3 pieces of Umbra, 2 pieces of Striker with all skill tiers, and watch you just cut enemies in half. Really fun, very easy build to make. You probably have all those pieces. Okay, let's get that. We'll take the apartment too. And then I need to make sure I have my M870. And then I want to bring over the backfire. I think I can use the backfire in the next one. Showcase a really fun build. And then M87, let's make sure we have that. Super 90, must be over here already. Go to you guys. Let's make sure I have that M870. Calibre, there it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, capacitor is really strong, Ricardo. Yeah, it's a really good, really strong gun. If you look at it, I mean, for me, it stands up really close to St. Elmo's. I actually like it better than St. Elmo's. If you were to straight up ask me to pick, I'll say, oh, the capacitor is way better than St. Elmo's. But when it comes to how much crits that they're contributing to the build, they're basically even. I think the it's the mag size is the real separator between the two, but the capacitor brings more damage to armor, which is pretty useful in, especially in heroic content. Yeah, that's the only time I really enjoy the mechanical animal, Michael, is that Umbra build. And I'm going to show you my other favorite Umbra build here in a second. Let's put on... This one run Firewall, this one, because we're not going to need Gunner. Or maybe we do, I don't remember. No, we don't. Okay. I'll talk about why we don't need Gunner in a second. Let's take you off. What you want? All right, Umbra. It's been a while since I ran Umbra. I used to run it so much. And so we have to run a backpack on this one. And I feel like the chest is usually best in slot for a number build. I think that might be everything. Let's see. Because if you don't run the chest, you end up with just 15% RPM boost and only 50% crit hit damage, and it just doesn't seem to be enough differentiator for me to run it if I'm not running the chest piece. Because the RPMs are a lot of that great feeling that the gear set gives you. And then the extra 50% crit damage, I mean, shit, how do you ignore that? But in the damage world, it comes in basically third. Like in DPS values from Striker, Heartbreaker. Striker and Heartbreaker are really close, and then Umbra's behind it. But you don't really want to compare them that way, and we'll talk about why, but it's a mistake to compare them. It's also kind of a mistake to compare Heartbreaker and Striker, even though I keep doing that. Yeah, I'm just trying to make it relative for you. But like, the reason why is because Striker doesn't bring any additional defense to the build, where Heartbreaker and Umbra do. And so it is more appropriate to compare Umbra and Heartbreaker than it is to compare Umbra and Striker. They're sort of different classes. These are hybrid builds, and Striker is a pure build. And so the only time you would want to compare a Striker with an Umbra is if you have altered your Striker build to bring in additional levels of survivability. Then it is fair. Otherwise, it would be more fair to go in and modify in the script, in the code, to take out the defense from Umbra and plug in more offense. That would be fair. But that's not what this set is intended to do. This set is not intended to outperform Striker. And so if you can get it to do that, that's great. But when it comes, and I've done all these testing. I've done all this testing myself, but what it can do is improve your time to clear. As a matter of fact, I have faster times to clear with Umbra than I do with Striker, and multiple types of content doing, I ran circuits with all the gear sets to compare them, and it's basically the same. It's not like, oh my God, you're gonna perform so much better with Umbra. You're not, you're basically, it's a tie, it's negligible. But the fact was, I did clear content faster with Umbra because it brings in heals. Okay, let me get this all settled. So I'm gonna run the backfire with this because it's a very fun way to showcase what Umbra does. Let's see where we are stats. So crit chance we're high. So I could probably take this to, what do I got? Maybe I put the Umbra here. Yeah. And then let's run probably damage to targets out of cover. Let's just keep it clean. There. Cool. And then I'll run a Picaro's here because we're gonna need some sort of armor, but let's run crit damage. Because Striker brings in a lot of crits. Cool. All right, where are we looking at? 51, 74. Cool, I'll fill in the gaps here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and keep that crit chance. That'll be easy. Cool. All right, and we need to be bleed resistant. And so as you can see, we're at, what does that say? 67. So let me just finish this off. Bleed resistance. This is bleed resistance, bleed resistance. And then I probably need to change that to hazard protection there. Sorry, I don't get to run this gun a lot. And so when I have running Umbra, it gives me an excuse to run this gun. So tailoring it to that, but it won't just stray from what we need to evaluate here. So bleed resistance is at 87. So we just need a few more points there. So I'm gonna need this to be hazard. Just because my other things are. Or you know what? That'd be better as a yawl piece. I do have a yawl somewhere here. Let's see if I still have it. Yawl. Might have moved it back already. Nope, there you are. That's easier. And then let's put the Umbra here. Cool, perfect. Worked out nicely. Okay, so Umbra. Y'all, I mean, Umbra. Boom. All right. That might be too much, but let's see now. Hazard bleed, yeah, so we're at 100 now, 100% bleed. So you only have to be like 90 something. So I could probably pull off one of these stats. Let me see my stat board, 51. So let's change this to crit chance. And now we're at 97. Okay, that's good enough, cool. All right, so we're immune. And so we got all that. So let's fast travel and then showcase this bad boy. We'll run a different control point. For once. Yeah, me too, Fog. Like getting in and out of cover is the only downside. It's not always conducive. It can be different, difficult and legendary too, where you're kind of pinned down. Also, the downside, this is a funny downside about Umbra, is its description, right? It's got a really bad description, and that discourages players from using certain gear sets or weapons. If it's confusing, people shy away from it if they don't understand it. Clutch, good example, right?
Control point identified.
So yeah, people stray away from shit they don't understand. I get it. And I feel like that, you know, when you read that thing, I mean, I don't think I've ever read it from top to bottom. My eyes hurt looking at this gear set. Okay. The gear set, of course, is Umbra Initiative. So really cool gear set. Okay, so on the totem, it's a little bit less damage than Heartbreaker, but it brings in a different set of contributors to your damage, as well as heals, and sort of even easier to earn in a way, but let's talk about it. So we got 15% crit chance, 30% reload speed. That's a great thing to have. From the shadows into the light. So basically that means in cover and out of cover. Okay, so when you're in cover, you're gonna stack offensive buffs. That's gonna push up to 15% reload, I'm sorry, RPMs, 15% RPMs, and 50% crit hit damage. And then when you're out of cover, you're gonna earn what ends up coming in as armor regen. And that ends up being 8% armor regen per second. Correct me if I'm wrong there, because it's been a while since I run this. 8% armor regen per second. And then when you run the backpack, it's gonna push that to 16% armor regen per second. That is the best armor regen in the game. And sadly, this backpack is overlooked in that department. This is huge armor regen. Huge armor regen. The downside is that it's conditional to you being in cover and spending some time out of cover to earn it, but that's natural. That part's natural. And the truth is that you have to go to cover anyways, or you might habitually go in cover to reload, which I often do also. But when you're out of cover, that 16% regen, which is really powerful, isn't adding to your resistance, which is a perk that armor regen has, especially strong regen. So everybody looks at regen as a recovery, and it is. But when it's strong enough, meaning when you get high enough values of armor regen coming in per second, it also adds to resistance, meaning you're healing while you take damage to a degree. Now, the enemy usually always damages you more than you can heal through, unless you have a build that's specifically designed to do that, which you can. And but that aside, this armor regen doesn't do that. This is a pure recovery regen because it only happens when you're in cover. In other words, you're not taking damage usually when you're in cover. But really cool backpack, really cool backpack. And so with the Umbra gear set, I typically run the chest piece because it takes you to 30% RPMs boost. That's fast. And pushes your crit hit damage bonus to 100%, which is very, very meaningful. Okay, now I put together a special build to highlight the backfire, what this can do, what this gear set can do. Oops, I got an extra piece here. I got to fix that. I got 5 pieces here. I'll fix that in a second. Just realized. But what this gear set can do is make guns that can feel a little drab. The backfire feels a little drab, okay, for many reasons. But if this gear set fixes all the things that are wrong with the backfire to make it feel really good. The backfire overall brings 200% crit hit damage. If we look at our crit hit damage, that with the backfire, that's gonna push us to 262% crit hit damage, right? With the 100% from Umbra, that pushes us to 362% crit hit damage. 362% crit hit damage, and we are completely immune to bleed, which is the downside of the backfire. So we're going to be fast and strong and have 16% armor regen per second. That's amazing. This is a good build. You're going to like it. So let me fix this. Let's go ahead and put on the contractors if I have them. I do. And then let's see, that probably changed the figure. I'll have to fix that, but let's make sure, let's see where we're at. Wait, defense, where are you? Bleed resistance, we're at 87. Yeah, let me go fix that
Hostile control point detected.
real fast. Yeah, I'm with you, Biko. I like the way you said there. At this point, I'm looking for fun, not meta. Me too, me too. We've been there. We've been in the game long enough. We've done the meta and been there, right? Okay, so glove. I need to fix this. So let's put this to hazard. And then chest. We're good. One of these pieces I saw. Oh, it was the backpack, I think. Yeah, how much armor am I running? We were going to stay consistent at 1.1, which is there. So let's put that backpack to weapon damage. We'll peek that out. Cool. All the leaves are brown and the skies are gray. Skies are gray. Okay, so here's I adjusted the build. So I put the contractor's gloves on for damage to armor, and we got Hasbro there. So our stats are good. 57, 362% crit hit damage when all the buffs are in there. And then we're still immune to bleed. So let's go tear it up. As you can see here, we're stacking our offense stacks by being in cover, right? And then we set it off. Let's go kill somebody.
Reinforcements incoming.
See, I reload and cover anyways, so I really don't have a lot of hard time. So fun to run this build. So this heal, watch his heals. Look at those heals. Wow. Wow, nothing does it. I mean, that's like a med kit. It's like a free med kit. I mean, in every way, right? Including like how fast it goes. I mean, it's basically, it's actually faster than a med kit, but it does about the same. Look at that heal. Oh, I got the wrong fucking shield on. I just realized that. I ran, hold on a second, let me fix that. Oh, won't let me, fuckers. I'm running Fireball for that stronger shield and we're not using it. And that shield is pretty powerful. See if I can switch to it now. Yeah. Damage bonus. Let's take the active regen and then damage bonus. Okay, now we're ready. I don't have much ammo though. Heal, heal, heal. You don't have to heal all the way. Remember that. You need to get to what I call fighting strength. I'm not even needing my... Oh, I missed too many shots right there. My healer drawn. That's pretty cool, huh? How fast that thing heals.
Supply room
Okay, we'll talk about, let's break it down now that we saw it work. Okay, so good, is it bad, or is it great, right? And yeah, let's talk about, so is it easy to get? Yeah, it is. You know, conditional to the gear set, right? I mean, relative to the gear set, do you know what I'm saying? So compared to Heartbreaker and Striker, well, no, it's not as easy to get, right? Because those are point and shoot. However, if you're running Umbra, you can't get your offensive stacks unless you get in cover anyways, which are diminishing over time. So if you're running the gear set, then yeah, it's absolutely easy to get because you have to get in cover anyways, right? So I would say yes, because it's relative to the gear set. If you don't like the mechanics of Into the Light, from the shadows into the light, then you're not gonna like the backpack because it's basically just an extension of that mechanic, like all backpacks are to their relative to the gear set. So I would say yeah, it's easy to get because you're already doing that. And you don't have to, although you're getting more heals, it doesn't increase the amount of time you're in cover. It's the same amount of time you're in cover, you're just getting twice the heals. So it's definitely easy to get. How does it perform? Absolutely excellent. It performs excellent when you're in cover. What I will say is its downside is that what Umbra is missing as a gear set is resistance, and that's its downside. Everything we talked about. So armor regen isn't just a form of recovery, it's also a form of resistance, but not this armor regen. This armor regen is missing the resistance part because it only works when you're in cover, but you're taking most of your damage out of cover, and this gear set forces you out of cover. Right? You have to get out of cover, get in cover, get out of, so you have to get out of cover to even earn it. And when you're out of cover, that's always what I feel like I am missing, is that additional level of resistance to help me stay out of cover or drop my shield and absorb damage and bonus armor. And so when I run this build, I do usually run it with, ooh, that's a good one, with the Memento. Not because the backpack is bad, but because what the gear set is missing is additional levels of resistance. So, in other words, unlike the chest piece, which is best in slot, the backpack is an alternative and sort of a weak one. Because even though you don't have, how do I say? Oh, even though you have, I still retain my heals. It's sort of like Striker that way, right? So Striker, we talked about how Striker is amazing, and its downside is that it brings so much damage that the backpack is unnecessary additional damage, right? Or we were using a different word. What was that called? Non-essential additional damage. It's non-essential additional damage. Like this backpack is non-essential additional heals because you don't need heals as much in that circumstance. However, it's nice, you heal up faster, but here's the buts. If you just ran Adrenaline Rush, you wouldn't need as many heals. If you ran Clutch, you would be healing in and out of cover with Clutch too, to complement those heals, double the heal power. If I ran Gunner, I'd be getting 10% armor on kill to aid and assist the heals that are coming from Umbra. If I'm running the Memento, I get 3% armor regen, whether I'm in and out of cover at all, plus the bonus armor, which is why it's the best matchup for Umbra, in my opinion. So, although it is amazing heals, and although it does exactly what it says it's going to do, it performs well, it is non-essential additional heals because it is restricted to just being in cover. If this was like Heartbreaker, okay, and what I mean by that is if it worked whether I was in cover or out of cover, if I was getting these heals out of cover, then this would be a godly backpack and be very difficult to not run. It might even be best in slot. Because there's nothing in this game that gives you more heals except for Ridgeway's Pride, except they have to be inside this realm of 15 meters in order to get that, and it's super situational. And so, unfortunately, this is non-essential heals. So, it's not bad, but it's definitely not great. I would put this right in the middle. So this is a good backpack alternate in case your exotic slot is taken for any reason. And one of those reasons might be you're running in a pack and you need to run the Coyote's Mask, as an example. That would be a situation where you would run this backpack because it is good heals. And I feel like the gear set overall is more conditioned for heroic content, whether you're in group or solo, it doesn't matter. But if you don't like that Striker doesn't bring any heals to the table, this is one of your options, but not your only one. So anyways, yeah, we'll call this good. It's definitely not bad, but it is non-essential additional heals. And, you know, if you're going to be using this gear set, you're going to be looking for resistance in other ways or more damage, in other words. Because the 8% armor regen per second is also really good, and that's what this gear set gives you by default without the backpack. It is fun to try, though. I do recommend trying this backpack. Hunter's Fury, shall we? We'll be switching weapons. Well, yeah, we're gonna switch weapons, but we could keep this weapon, but I don't have all those Hunter's Fury pieces with me, so we're gonna switch. Hey, by the way, if you're looking for a good backfire build, this is it. This is it. It's the last backfire build I'll ever run. No, for now, I've done so, and I'm just saying that not because I'm not interested in build diversity, just for even the sake of fun. But I've done so many backfire builds, been there, done that. I've done Negotiators, Ongoing Directive, Foundry, Striker, Heartbreaker. I mean, I've done everything. I've done skill builds with the backfire. You know what I mean? And so think about that for a second, right? It brings a 200% crit damage to your skill build. So, it's really interesting, right? Of a weapon. It's just that there's always this thing where it just lacks that luster, that shine that makes it feel like this weapon is awesome. It always has. And Umbra is the only thing that can fix that for me. It's one of my favorite Umbra builds. All in. One of my other favorite ones is the Capacitor one. I think that one's really fun. It really shines. It's not meta, but wow. And then it's always fun going super fast with this weapon. So I also like, with the set, that's usually what I do with it, is kind of go off the charts into speed just for fun. So I end up doing, what do you call it? Like the Vector. So on this next one, we're gonna go shotguns, just to flip up things here. So that's why I was looking for that M870. Oops, apparently we got too much shit. Push you out. Push you out. M870. Okay, and then we need our Heartbreaker backpack. Hunter's Fury, sorry. Hunter's Fury. And then, let's see, do I have Hunter's Fury here? I can offload now, so review. Oh, I wonder if I have my Regulus with me. Actually, I'd almost prefer to do that instead. I don't get to run my Regulus every day. All right, we'll do Regulus instead. I don't do a lot of Regulus builds because I know a lot of you guys don't have it. So I don't run it either because I don't want to make you guys envious. I know. I know. Okay, so let's see. Got 2 pieces there. So we're gonna try to stick to that 1.1 number. With heavier weapons, you can't go higher for the because you can, right? But because you got so much damage. I'll go ahead and put on damage to targets out of cover here. And then let's turn this. Good, and then I'm gonna run sharpshooter because I'm gonna run a headhunter style of Hunter's Fury. This is gonna be an interesting one, actually. Which one do I have to change? Headshot, 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 good. Headshot, headshot. So the holster. It's gonna be interesting because of what the backpack does. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But it's not as straightforward as you would think. I have used this backpack. I have come up with builds for this backpack. John Wick build, for example, because John Wick is a non-shield style player, right? He doesn't run a shield, so the backpack aids in that in the form of crowd control. But give me a second, I'll show you what I mean. All right. Hunter's Fury. Can you believe I don't have one rigger gear set piece? Does anybody have rigger? Anybody use rigger, I should say? Anybody use rigger? Curious to know. It's been a long time since I've equipped a rigger build, but from what I remember, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. It didn't really bring anything to the table that you couldn't assemble from scratch, so anything worthwhile. Anyways. Now let's talk about Hunter's Fury and its special backpack. So Hunter's Fury is a damage set. It's like the memento of gear sets, as I always say. So 2 pieces give you shotgun or SMG damage. We often even ignore that, and I'm going to for this build, because it provides so much damage, you don't mind missing out on that simple additive damage. I have, it also gives you 20% armor on kill, so that's your defensive attribute. And then Apex Predator, which is offense, and then also what I call yellow, or a skill utility in the form of disorientation. So just by standing there, enemies within 15 meters, inside 15 meters from an enemy, you're gonna get 20% amplified damage against them. And then every time you kill an enemy, it adds a disorientation debuff to the enemy. They stagger, okay? And they stay disorientated for a few seconds. And then that happens to any enemy within 5 meters. And then on kill, you're gonna start stacking additional amplified damage by 5%, up to 5 times for 10 seconds. Ends up being about an additional 31% amp damage, give or take. All right, the backpack, what it does, it's called Overwhelming Force, and it increases the radius of Apex Predator's disorient status effects from 5 meters to 10 meters. Now, 5 meters is the increase. It doesn't sound like much, but that's the radius. So bigger, giant circle, right? And so that is extremely helpful, this disorient status effects in general, okay? And then we'll demonstrate the backpacks use case. That status effect is really one of the things that defines Hunter's Fury. Well, it all does. This is a very good gear set. Just, we gotta admit that, right? But the amplified damage, it's one of the best damages you can get because you just have to stand there. Forget about the kill stacking one. Like just standing there, 20%, that's better than Striker. First bullet, right? So, but that disorient status effect on kill. Okay, so we've talked about that survivability pie and those additional layers of survivability besides damage. And one of those things is staggering. And this is staggering built into a gear set status effect called Disorient. So it happens after a kill, but you might be staggering before the kill too, right? So one shot staggers the enemy, the second shot staggers the group because you killed that enemy. So you're getting staggering on the front end and the back end, potentially, with this gear set. So staggering gives you time to reload, gives you time to shoot and kill an additional target, and set forward a chain of staggering events to prevent future damage from happening to you. It's really important to your survivability, especially because you're in the kill box with the enemy. And so it is the reason why you're surviving. You know, so it's really interesting. And so is more of that gonna be a benefit to you now that you know how good it is? Well, our demonstration will provide the answers for you. Otherwise, I'm running a headshot damage version of this build, okay? It's a very powerful version. We got 1.1 million armor like we've had on all the builds that we've demonstrated today. And then 4 pieces to complete the set. The chest piece is D&H, and I'm running the Headhunter so I can chain kill. And then there's the mask and, of course, the backpack. It's not fully gold rolled, but we're okay. I'm not really going to be using these weapons too much. We do have the pistol, and I'm running Sharpshooter. I'm going to use attack 50 from time to time just to set it off. I don't know if we have special ammo. We do got a little bit of special ammo, good. Specialization ammo, I should clarify. You can do a lot with Hunter's Fury, you know. You can, if you play into the status effects, you know, like bring in your shock ammo, right? This from the Scorpio or even the St. Elmo's. Bring it! Let's sneak up on those gazelles up there. So there's that red symbol that tells me they're in my damage zone, but there's nobody around him to stagger. See that? So the staggering isn't 5 meters from you, it's 5 meters from the enemy. If I'm getting that right. So we got enough damage to kill him right out of the gate. So this poor sucker is ready to die. See, there's that stagger right there, right? So it gives you enough time to reload or whatever you got to do to survive.
Detected. Location by hostiles.
See that? Oops, and then I screwed up my chance. The downside is of that talent is that if you're a precision shooter, like running a precision build, that staggering can hurt you. See that? It causes misses, but it's worth it. Oh, whatever. You punched me there. Oh, you jerk.
Agent killed.
Look at that. And I can't fast travel anybody. That's bullshit, right? I mean, look at that. That's stupid. My allies weren't even at the control point yet. All right. See that? They're outside the perimeter. What up, Lorenzo? Haven't seen you in a minute. Okay, so that's actually a testament of the good and the bad of this backpack. So I'll go ahead and tell you. So, I mean, that's truly a good testament of the use case of this backpack. But I'll tell you right away that, again, it's going to be a recurring theme in today's discussion, which is the backpack slot is a defensive nesting place, all right? And so when something's there, that even if it provides you defense, it better be damn good defense to compete with what you would have otherwise been able to put there. In our case, bonus armor. So it's giving us more of a good thing, which we don't necessarily need. Does it help sometimes? Absolutely. Is it a game changer? No. The game has already been changed, and adding more isn't gonna help us there. Ah, come on. See right there? So he got affected by it. But it actually slowed me down. So sometimes it works for you and against you. But if that guy wasn't staggered, I would have been able to kill him. But I had to stop to find his head. Because he was dizzy and it made it a harder shot for me. I don't know why I didn't kill her right there. So right here, I gotta wait for him to recover. Which sometimes is okay. See, it helped right there. That's a good use case right there, right? He bent over and I got his backpack, which saved me from taking more damage from him.
Incoming hostiles detected.
It's more of a good thing. Again, non-essential staggering. What a build like this needs, especially for Hunter's Fury, you are forced to play in the kill zone, and what you need in the kill zone is adequate defense. You already have the offense. The build doesn't need more of that. And it's almost forcing me into a shield position that I wouldn't otherwise need to do if I wasn't running that backpack. If I was running the Memento, for example, I wouldn't need the shield. I could rely on just the bonus armor. Sometimes. I run the shield anyways, but it's usually for emergencies, and in this case, finding it as an essential, because all of my survivability is based on my performance, and that's also one of the downsides of what Hunter's Fury is about. It's the downside of Hunter's Fury, is like high risk, high reward, but more importantly, it's based on your performance. You play like shit, the gear set's gonna perform like shit. So, and when you're playing inside 15 meters, you don't got a lot of excuses to play like shit. You don't have a lot of leeway to play like shit. You need to be on your A game. So the faster, I feel like the faster your time to kill, the more damaging this backpack is to your performance. And I got the fastest time to kill in the game right now, which is basically one shot with little effort to acquire my target because I'm at close range with a pistol that's got a short barrel. Oh, somebody behind me, fuck. Who the hell is that? God damn it. Some little weak red guy back there pestering me. Wow, that shot didn't kill him? That was amazing. That one did. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And let me explain more on that detail. So, because my time to kill is so fast, I could chain kill those enemies without much hesitation. And the staggering of the enemy makes it a more difficult target to acquire. And therefore, is decreasing my time to clear or actually increasing the odds of me actually dying. Wow, right? Think about that. How is it increasing my odds of dying? Because I have to wait for the target to recover before I can kill him. That's right, because it has to be a headshot. If I accidentally shoot him in the body, on accident, if I shoot him in the body, let me be clear about that, I lose my chain killing capabilities. And those chain killing capabilities are my survivability and my godliness. They're everything. The whole build's about that, right? And so that's what I mean. The faster your time to kill, then the weaker disorient status effect is, and more importantly, the more that disorient status effect pulls away from my survivability, because I have to wait for them to stand tall again. And when they're standing tall, that means they're no longer disorientated, and it means they're gonna be able to shoot back at me, which is great. If I don't miss that shot and land it, then I kill that enemy and then stagger the other two enemies standing right behind him. But if I miss, all of a sudden I have all three enemies shooting at me at the same time, and I am in trouble because of the status effect, where I could have just kept shooting them and blowing them up, or shooting them and chain killing them to death or whatever. So, you know, granted, there's all sorts of situations. You're like, yeah, but you're blowing them up and you're bleeding them to death. And yeah, totally. But I'm just saying, just keeping it in the narrow realms of does the disorient status effect help me? Yes, to a degree, but too much of a good thing ends up being bad in this case. And I put overwhelming force on the bad list for backpacks. I think anything else is better here for the most part, unless you're, I don't know why you would have a reason to run this. I've run it before just to show that you can, and that's because it was a themed build around John Wick, and he didn't have a shield, and you know, so, and I'm pretty sure I was avoiding the exotic, I guess, the memento, I can't remember. But I mean, anything would be better than that. I mean, shoot, adrenaline rush, even vigilance would be better than that, because it'd help with that first kill. Galvanize would be better, right? Because disorient will give you bonus armor. That's more survivability. So that's good, except you can't refresh it. So it's one of my favorite things that not to use. Wicked, right? Wicked would work because you're applying a status effect. So that would proc Wicked for 20 seconds. That's better. Bloodsucker would be amazing for this. And of course you got your memento. So almost anything would be better than this backpack, to be honest with you. And so, are there niche builds where this backpack can shine? Yeah, there are. Those are niche builds, and we're not going to include that in this rating.
With the steel, if you know what I mean.
Is it easy to acquire? Yes, because the whole other lines with the gear set. You know, is it as easy as Striker and Heartbreaker and Umbra? No, because this is performance based and it's high risk and high reward. So, and there's more to this. Let me bang it all out there on how bad this can be, okay? Sometimes when you are chain killing and you do kill multiple enemies that are in range to receive that status effect, if they're already under the status effect, because you killed enemy 1, enemy 2 and 3 are under status effect, you kill enemy 2, the third enemy is immune to the status effect because you cannot refresh the status effect. You can't refresh it. He's got to come out of the status effect and you can apply it again. So there are many times when you're chain killing where you kill so fast that the other enemies wake up out of their status effect and all of a sudden you're in trouble and they're shooting at you because you applied the status effect to them when they were already under the status effect. And again, you cannot refresh the status effect and it gets you in trouble. The other thing is how many times do you engage enemies mano a mano, right? Just one man. You're just, and there's nobody else to disorient. You're running this whole backpack and about 50% of your engagements are too small to really make use out of that additional radius from that backpack. Were there a couple of times where I saw a stagger an enemy? Yes. Did it help me? Pretty much no. Maybe there was one opportunity against that boss, but that is not enough reason for me to run this backpack because it helped me one time not take damage. For the most part, it slowed me down because I had to wait for the enemies to not be staggered. Well, if you're not running a headshot build, then that won't be as much of an issue for you. However, when it comes to time to kill, headshots are important, and that enemy's head is all over the place because he's bending over and leaning up and everything in between. So it's making your shots on the most ideal hitbox more difficult to acquire. So it's great for reloading. It's great for overwhelming force, exactly what it's called, in your face. That's really what it's helpful for. So when you got 5 enemies in front of you, it's helping you in that situation. But if you kill them too fast, you're gonna reapply the status effect on status affected enemies, and it's not gonna work, and they're gonna wake up and they're gonna shoot you in the butt as you're running away, tuck-tailing and running. Yeah, that's why that one's interesting, right? A lot more complicated than you might have thought. Right. And so you would have to have used it to know that. Well, you had to have used Hunter's Fury to know a lot of those details, right? A lot. But they can't all be winners. Nate, man, appreciate you resubbing, remembering up. Next up is technically Tip a Spear. The downside is Tip a Spear's text is missing, but I understand it's still working. But makes it kind of annoying to cover because I don't know if I have the verbiage memorized. Does anybody have the verbiage memorized on that? I mean, and I didn't write it down before. Nate's back. Back to attack. Right on, bro. Clean up that stash while you're at it. I know you're cluttering. Like the rest of us. I had to delete a bunch of things just to do this stream because moving things around was difficult. My backpack's so full. Inventory's so full. Everywhere we go, there's inventory issues. Starfield's got inventory issues too. From the get-go. Although you can expand your inventory, but as I understand, the issues never become... they never really stop. And the amount of time you dedicate to dealing with your inventory ends up being a lot too. I think I'm a level, like, Pirates. I think I'm a level 18 or 19. So we got... So aces I'm holding on because I need the backpack there. We got Tip of Spear, Rigger, Hardwired, True Patriot, Negotiators, Ongoing Directive, Foundry, Future Initiative, Cavalier, Eclipse, and System Corruption. That's a lot of gear sets, right? There's a lot of gear sets in this game. Let's see if I can craft all of Rigger. Do you remember the figures, Dragon, though? Do you remember the figures? Is it 25%? I can't remember. I mean, because I have the, I use it all the time too. I just didn't memorize it without looking at it. I'm sure I have a screenshot of it somewhere. I can do, actually, let me just check for that real quick. I probably have a screenshot of it from other builds. It's not the backpack that's missing it. It's the whole gear set that's missing their values. So let me see here. So as you can see, the backpack's includes its thing. So I'm pretty sure I have a screenshot of this. Let me pull it up real quick if you guys don't mind giving me a minute. Let's see, clips. There it is. Okay, I think I saw it. Yeah, show me the... Nope. That's not it. Annoying. Damn. Okay, got it. So let me see if I can screenshot this now and then blow it up. Okay, that was a pain in the butt. I got it though. Okay, so now let me just assemble the build and away we go. This will be easy. Keep it pretty straightforward. Almost keep everything the same. So backpack tips. Mask. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it just like that. And I'll just put on headshot damage. I like this gear set. I used to hate it. Can you believe that? Probably could believe that. All right, and let's just fix the cores. We're good to go. Yeah, skill tier tips is really good, Evil. It's like one of these builds that I've been sitting on for seasons and I haven't created a build video for it. It's really good too. It's so good and I just haven't, I don't know. I've been like putting it to extreme testing and it keeps putting it on the back burner. It's such a good build. 6 skill tiers. Tip of Spear is so strong, you can run 6 skill tiers in group in Legendary. In group in Legendary, 6 skill tiers. It's amazing that way. Okay. And still one shot enemies, obviously. All right. I think we got everything. Oh, let me just make sure my talent trees. Pistols, snipers, okay, good. Yeah, I was using the TAC 50. I actually, you can go several ways, Evil, but I went all, not the backpack. I ran it with the Memento, okay? And I run it with 6 skill tiers. And I run skill damage everywhere. And then on the chest, you can go Providence or Walker. Doesn't really matter. And then I usually run the White Death, the Nemesis. White Death, Nemesis, TAC 50, obviously. Very amazing build. And then I run turret and drone. And so, and they're both taking aggro away from you. You're using that all the time because you can. And then you're using determined like a beast. I ran it on Roosevelt Island in a 4-man squad a couple of weeks ago, and we got like 160 kills or something like that on Roosevelt Island. And yeah, so even in the beginning with the Memento and 0 trophies, you know, you're one-shotting everybody. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so let me just get closer to that gate and then I'll walk us through what we need to do, what we need to know. Okay, so here we are with the tip of spear gear set. Now this is a specialty set, but it is on the damage side of things. Now, right now it's a little glitched, as I understand, just visually. So I'm gonna have to tell you what the aggressive recon talent is. But tip of spear is very unique. It's the only thing in the game that gives you more signature weapon damage besides the specialization tree at the base of operations. So we get 10% more signature weapon damage. So that's a strong signature weapon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's this bad boy up here, right? So I'm running the TAC 50 or the sharpshooter specialization. So this is buffing that, okay? And it's important to note that this isn't a sniper. This is a specialization weapon. So when you see things like 10% or 15% or 30% more marksman rifle damage, it's not giving that damage to the TAC 50 because it's a specialization weapon. They're separate, so keep that in mind. Okay, so this is the only thing that bumps that up besides general weapon damage. And then we got 10% more weapon damage. So that's not just weapon damage for these weapons, that's also, because it's generalized weapon damage, going towards the TAC 50. So right there, that's 20% more weapon damage to the TAC 50. Okay, 10% coming from signature weapon, 10% coming from generalized weapon damage. Okay, let's talk about the 4-piece talent, aggressive recon. So I'm gonna have to read this to you. So dealing damage with a signature weapon increases total weapon damage by 20% for 60%. That's total weapon damage. So that's a nice little multiplicative stat by 20%. So all in all, just by putting out one shot and damaging an enemy with that TAC 50, we're gonna now be at 40% buff to our signature weapon, 30% to our general weapons. All right, and then automatically generates signature weapon ammo every 60 seconds. That's great. And you can be earning specialization ammo too, just by continuing to use your build or playing the game and earning it through kills. Okay, now let's look at the backpack. The backpack, what it does is signature move. So plus 20% weapon damage for 1 second after fully depleting the signature weapon of ammo. Doubles the amount. Wait. Doubles. That's reading differently than how I remember it. 20% weapon damage for 1 second after depleting the signature weapon of ammo. Is that different to you guys? I'm sorry. I remember this just being an automatic 20% more damage. Yeah, right? I thought I remembered it just being flat out 20% more damage, just more damage and more ammo. Doubles the ammo, right? So the doubles the amount of ammo generated. So that's consistent. It's also supposed to be plus 20% weapon damage for 1 second. The fully depleting the signature weapon of ammo is new. That I don't remember any fully depleting, or it's really old and it's accidentally there, but I don't remember that. So that's crap, right? That's crap because there are weapons that you're never going to fully deplete. Not intentionally, at least, because you're going to keep earning it too. Like the TAC 50, like the, whatchamacallit? The crossbow, right? So, I mean, because they're not rapid fire weapons where you're going to be reloading and stuff after fully depleting. So, like, I'm going to use my TAC 50, put it away, and then I'm going to be earning more ammo along the way. It never really fully depletes unless I just get to that point, which I rarely do ever. I mean, I don't know if that's a glitch or whatever, but that sucks. I don't know what's going on here. I don't think we can. I don't think I can test this. Let's just get out there and use it real quick and see if I see some sort of indicator. But so notice we have all that ammo. So 12 million right out of the gate.
Reinforcements incoming.
And so now what happens is I switch over to my primary weapon and it's going to take that damage. Now I'm at 17 million. So see that green symbol? So it eventually wears out, right? So you can you have to refresh it here. 28 million. So this is what I find. Now you can use Tippus Spear with any specialization weapon, right? And for special events, some people break it out for like the flamethrower, or maybe there's some niche cases in the raids where you might use it to bust the lava in Iron Horse, or you know, something like that. But it's rare you actually need or must use Tippus Spear. If you do, they're very rare niche situations. So for the most part, it's, you know, just a general damage build. Really good, I gotta say, where it shines and where it's usually used is in the sniper application. That's its most common use case. And you guys might have seen it in some really good specialized niche builds or for global events, but let's put those aside because it's not the core game. So for the most part, this is a gear set that really makes sense for the sniper class, the TAC 50, because the TAC 50 is actually effective. What I mean by that is that you can one-shot kill with your TAC 50 like a sniper is supposed to. Where if you use the crossbow, it becomes really difficult to kill anything with the crossbow. I mean, it does have a purpose. You can break a shielding or armor plates, but as far as being a viable weapon, it's not that. And either is the grenade launcher, Tippus Spear or not, it takes multiple grenades to kill an elite, even solo. And the flamethrower, you have to be in close proximity, and it's easy to run out of ammo. And then, so it makes it not a full-time weapon. And then, what's the other one? The gunner, the minigun, forces you out of cover and also becomes a non-viable weapon because of that. Slow and whatever, even though it might be fun to use and good for special events, but we're talking general gameplay. That being said, talking about the backpack and how it normally works, okay? What you can see happening here, all right, is that I don't need any additional specialization ammo, with or without determined. All right, so you know, it has nothing to do with determined or the talents I'm running. The reason why is once I proc headhunter, I'm chain killing, so I don't need additional ammo. I'm earning it passively through that little bar. You see that little orange bar next to the my ammo count? There's a little vertical orange meter. Okay, that's my progress to earning specialization ammo. I get it with every head kill. I get 2 marks on that bar. And as you can see, it gets there really fast because we're killing fast, right? And so you're earning it faster than you're using it. On top of that, I'm getting a round every 60 seconds. So I just got another round. And so from Tippus Spear. So what ends up happening is you stop utilizing the benefits of Tippus Spear. Okay, so it's a whole gear set problem, and the backpack just amplifies that issue. But what I'm going to show you here in a second is that green arrow, the gear set arrow, is now gone, right? Okay, and so what I'm going to show you here is that I don't need the Tippus Spear buff in order to continue to chain kill. See that? So I'm still hitting that 20 million without Tip of Spear buff, because you have to refresh the Tip of Spear buff, and I haven't done that. I let it expire on purpose. So I have max ammo, all right? I have max ammo, and I don't need any more damage. I don't. And so the backpack, again, is too much of a good thing, and I don't need it. You don't need it in any circumstance. I'm chain killing right out of the gate. Hitting that 12 million, I only need to hit 10. And if you see, that's special ammo right there. It's littering the floor, right? Where I could almost use my TAC 50 full time. But why would you not want to do that? For one, I have diminished returns on that named enemy there, so that's no bueno. But more importantly, I'll show you here in a second, all right? Okay, so watch this. Oh, I didn't do it, fuck. I accidentally set it down. The deploying of skills is really slow, or swapping weapons, if that's part of your playstyle, becomes significantly slower. Significantly. I screwed it up because I didn't accidentally drop my thing. Everything is slower with your specialization in hand. Okay, so see that? How he has to put his weapon away in order to do that? That's an extremely slow deployment of my skill. And then the weapon swapping is also slow if that's part of your strategy. So that's why you don't want to use your Tip of Spear full time, and you can't. You're never going to have enough ammo to use it full time, and you're not going to have enough ammo, and you have too much ammo to use it part-time for part-time use. You're just littering the floor with all this specialization ammo. So what I'm saying is that Tip of Spear is really good because it brings you all the damage and ammo you need without the backpack. So that opens up the space, the slot for your backpack to go ahead and start bringing in additional levels of survivability, such as bonus armor or any other utility that you want to. Even skill related stuff. And so this gear set is strong enough to do that. What you don't need is additional damage. As you can see, we did everything without that signature moves weird talent description, and I'm not sure it was doing anything. I don't know if that's a glitch or what the case is, but it's not how I remember it. I'll tell you that much. The fully depleting the signature weapon of ammo, if that's required, and I can tell you that is the most garbage backpack probably in the game, because not one time did I ever deplete the ammo, and I was using it a lot more than I normally do. And the reason why mostly you're not depleting it is because it's a one-shot kill weapon, you know, and you don't need to chain kill with it. That's overkill. You're abusing it if you do that. So you shoot it and you get your kill and you swap it. The only time you're putting out multiple shots are if you're missing or if the target is really tanky. And the targets that you can't one-shot kill with your TAC 50 are usually bosses. And it says specifically in the description of the specialized weapon, reduce damage against named enemies. So it's not an effective weapon against bosses unless you already have a headhunter. So you don't want to abuse this weapon just because it slows you down. They've made sure that you don't abuse this weapon, regardless of how much ammo you have. So either way, this backpack is, as it reads right now, which I believe is a glitch, that puts it on the poo-poo list. As it normally reads, which is free extra damage and double the amount of aggressive recon ammo, if it was back to how I remember it, I would say it's on the good list. Why? Why does this make it on the good list? One is because, let's talk about how easy is it to acquire that talent, the signature moves. Well, like this, it's very hard. You have to fully deplete, which basically never happens. So that's a poop. But normally it says just by using your signature weapon, you get an additional 20% damage. That's how I remember it. And that's easy. because you're having to do that anyways. Super easy. All you gotta do is land a shot. You don't even need to kill an enemy. You just need to land a shot. And then how easy is it to acquire the double ammo? Really easy. It's passive. You don't even need to use your weapon. But the reason why it's not going to be great is because you don't need it. It's more of a great thing that you don't need. But if you did run it, are you at just as much of a are you disservicing your build? And the answer is no, you're not. And the reason why is because if you're playing a sniper build, I guarantee most of you are playing from cover anyways. And so you don't need additional survivability from like bonus armor, or you can't use clutch. You're not going to use many of the talents that they even give you, right? You don't need vigilance. You got enough damage, as you can see right out of the gate. The one-shot kill everybody, even in legendary. So you don't need any additional damage. You don't need any additional defense. So you have a utility here as part of that, which is doubling your aggressive recon ammo, ensuring that you never run out. And that could be good if you're not a crack shot. So if you're not a crack shot, this might be your best option. If you find yourself missing with your TAC 50 a lot, this might be your best option. And so part of the reasons why I'm littering the field with specialization ammo, okay, it's because I am getting a lot of kills. That's why all that specialization ammo is laying around. It's because I earned it, because I was getting a lot of kills. But if you're in a competitive environment where you're not getting so many kills, or you're in legendary, maybe you're struggling with kills, okay, then you're not going to have the floor littering like this. You're probably going to be using up your TAC 50 ammo at a reasonable rate, or at a rate in which you're going to need the backpack. So the backpack is a good option. It's just not best in slot. But is it better than vigilance? Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's damage they can't take away, and you got to use your TAC 50 anyways. And you're also getting ammo, where vigilance is just providing damage. So is it better than bloodsucker? Well, yeah, it is, because bloodsucker requires chain killing. And so when you're in those situations like we just discussed, where you're in legendary and not able to maintain constant kills before your bloodsucker runs out, then you're sitting there with no armor, bonus armor, and you have to re-earn it, and it doesn't get good until you get at least 3 kills, right? So it's better than bloodsucker as far as usefulness and easy to acquire. But there's other options too. I mean, you can go with companion, but that's just damage. It doesn't give you the ammo, and you got to use your TAC 50 anyways. So, it really is a great backpack option. Oh, it's a good backpack all the way around. You just don't need it. You just absolutely don't need it. But in some situations, depending on who you are and how you play, you might decide that you do need it. So, yeah. So it's not best in slot, but it's definitely going to be a good backpack, and might even be preferred over many of your other damage options. Yeah, but right now, I don't know what to tell you. It says signature moves, and the description is really bad. So I'm going to base my feedback on this on how I know signature moves to be, but it's normally good. But as it reads, that would be a horrible backpack to run. Hope that's freaking helpful. Right? Confusing? Can we say confusing? Did we get all our gear? No, we didn't. So let's grab this crap. Get just a little bit hanging around. Yeah, so you can run this gear set all blue too. Like, you can go full armor on this bad boy and not have any problems chain killing. It's amazing. It's an amazing backpack. It's too bad it's all glitched out. I don't know how they did that, by the way. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you mess up a gear set that's been around for years? I mean, do you think they were trying to nerf it and they just didn't tell anybody? But why would they nerf it? Yeah, Ricardo, you're right. You're right. That's what it's supposed to be, 20 to 40. Do you think they were trying to nerf it and they screwed up? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think, why would they want to nerf? So, Mandela effect, Wild. Totally Mandela effect. Totally Mandela effect. I'm trying to, sometimes they nerf things because they see people, how do you say, one-shotting raid bosses. And if Tip of Spear is used in that situation, and it's because of the backpack, then they'll nerf it. And that sucks, right? They were saying that about Determined too. They wanted to nerf Determined because they didn't want people to one-shot bosses in the raid. That's weird, right? It's like, what? It's like, fix the raid, not the fucking gear set. But that could be, that's the only reason I can think of them touching the Tip of Spear backpack, because nobody runs it enough where you see it being exploited in the game, you know? I mean, I probably use Tip of Spear more than anybody. And I never use that backpack. Actually, my most common backpack I run with this is the Memento usually. Okay, that's a shame. So I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully it's fixed in some future patch. I'll check the notes later to see if they got it in their plan, but nothing seems to be moving very fast. I think they're all focused on the new game mode to be even paying attention down here to us little people. Okay. Switching gear pieces here. Okay, let's see what we can do with rigor. So rigor, I might have to craft it all, but let's see if I can do that. I just need 4 pieces, and so there's 1. And it should be easy because they come with the skill tier, right? So they'd be easy crafting. So there's 1, and then let's get the backpack. And then the knees. And then probably the gloves too, I guess, because this would be one of those situations where the Picard's holster could be good, potentially. Up, Ant. It's been a while since I've run this gear set, so it's almost be a learning experience for all of us. All right, rigor. Cool. So equipped, and then for the chest we can go skill, something super simple, straightforward. Here, just gonna go rigor. Picaros, I mean, sorry. And then on the chest, we could probably do the same. Brazos Headhunter build, anybody? Yeah, let's do that. I got an idea. And that we got 6 skill tiers right there. And then I'm gonna run, I'll keep the TAC 50. And then let's run the turret. Drone will go attack. Damage. Okay, what do we got here? Crits, I'll change that. Crits, I'll change that. Skill damage. Good there. Okay. I'll keep that. Let's see here. Okay, so let's look at what rigor does. So 2 pieces give you 15% skill haste, 3 pieces 15% skill duration. Okay, cool. Basic, right? All right, 4-piece talent. Tend and befriend. Interacting with your deployed skills grants skills 25% skill damage for 10 seconds. This buff cannot be refreshed. So interactions include deploying the skill or using it, changing the skill's target, and then healing the skill. And then the backpack is giving us canceling your skills will reset the cooldown. So that's not picking up. That's canceling, so crushing your skill. Does that make sense? So I'll demonstrate that for you. But that's also how I remember it. So basically, it's you got to be able to cancel your skill. So that means that not all skills will work with this, right? Like Riot Foam can't be canceled. Hives can, if you break it. And then, but Hives might not be useful because resetting your cooldown, the cooldown is per stinger, right? Or per drone. So we'll have to test that. I'm not sure that's super useful for that. Because it's not going to automatically refill your hive, right? It won't do that. But what it will automatically refresh your drone and your turret, and that's the most popular application. But it doesn't have to be. You could use like a burst or firefly right here or something like that. But that means it's only one skill that you can crush. And the real application here is that it's when you're ready to move, right? And so you don't want it to be on cooldown. You want to have it instantly back so that you can instantly deploy it on your next destination. So that's usually where it shines, and which is also why you don't see a lot of people running this gear set, because that doesn't apply to just every skill. Turret drones, which are the most popular skills, maybe. Shocks, traps too. Good call, Sick Jim. Traps for sure. So we'll try that out. Yeah, I think the BTSU gloves could be good too. Actually, a good point. And so you don't really need to run skill haste, and it's weird that there is skill haste, don't you think? I mean, the skill haste is almost there if you accidentally let your skill go down, I guess. But if you let one of your skills go down, you just have to crush the other one. But if you don't want to crush the other one because you can't, so let's see, do I have the capacitor? All right. Put the capacitor on. Cool. This will be interesting because I haven't run this one in many moons. So, but thinking about it, would you run this gear set without the backpack? Because is 25% skill damage worth it for you here? I mean, doesn't Future give you that too, basically? And weapon damage, Future Initiative? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it gives you at least, what, 15? And that's in its skill haste and skill duration aren't, I mean, shit, the Memento is going to give you way more than that, right? The Memento gives you more of skill haste, skill duration, and damage. And so I feel like the only reason why you'd want to run the gear set is for the backpack talent. Yeah, it's in the Memento slot. But the Memento's not good for every skill build, especially if you don't want to worry about trophies. I mean, I like it. Come here, buddy. Oh my god, I keep missing this guy. Just be still. Oh my god, you guys. Thank you. Where is this guy? There he is.
Reinforcements en route.
Okay, so I'm ready to displace. So if I crush this skill, it should come back automatically. It did. You see that? That's pretty cool. That's pretty unique. Now I lost my other skill because it went down on its own. But if I crush this one, oh, it's weird. It didn't give me my other skill back, so it only works on one. You get it? So let's put this away for a second. Well, I can't. I gotta let the cooldown accumulate. Hold on a second. I thought it was supposed to refresh both your skills.
Heavily armored. Hostile detected.
Okay, so let me crush this skill. Actually, let me pick it up. So it doesn't go on cooldown. Okay, now I'm gonna crush this skill. See if I can do it fast enough. Okay, so it refreshes itself, but I didn't do it fast enough. Kind of also part of the problem is that your cooldowns aren't that long in the first place with some of these skills. The skills that it works on. So I'm gonna crush this. It's gonna probably refresh itself. See that? Now let's crush this one and see if it refreshes itself. And it does. So they just refresh themselves, but that's still pretty cool. You just gotta keep that in mind. So crushing one doesn't refresh the other one. That's how hardwired works, right? You don't crush it, but you just have to pick it up. But I might say that for rigor, is it best in slot? The backpack? I think it might be, right? Again, if you don't run the backpack, why are you running rigor? Because that's the only thing unique about it enough to actually run it. Would you guys agree with that? Or what do you think? Can I get some thoughts on that one? I don't use rigor. It's been a while since I really used it, but that's, I think that was my feel. That's my feeling about rigor in general, is it just doesn't stand out as a reason enough to actually use it over anything else. Even a striker build, striker hybrid, has better reasons to use, is better to use in all content than rigor, unless you're looking for that capability. So let me crush this thing here. Actually, let me pick up this. Let's test that again. Now let me crush this drone. Let's see if it refreshes my... It doesn't. So it just refreshes itself, but that's still pretty damn good. I mean, it basically leaves you in a situation where you're never without a skill as long as you're watching and not letting them both expire, which is pretty hard to do. I mean, it's actually pretty damn good. Let's, I'm kind of rethinking this for a second. Let me crush this skill here. Okay, and then it lets you swap skills pretty quickly too, right? Because you don't have the cooldown to have to wait. Okay, so let me throw this bad boy. Is this an unlimited decoy world? And if so, this could make really good hybrids. Let me refresh that. It is. Oh my god, we can make a new Mantis build. That's actually pretty fucking cool, guys, if you think about it. If you take it into like Hybridlandia, right? Unlimited decoys without getting a kill. Without having to run a Mantis. This guy's about to fucking get me here. So if I crush this, because you got such a long duration, it's pretty hard to miss the opportunity to crush it. See that? I think that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, this gives us a new build to work on, to tell you the truth. Some outside the box, but quite effective. You know, like imagine taking off all your skill tiers and running damage. You know what I mean? Headshot damage and whatever. Have unlimited skills. Or even leaving some of your skill tiers on, making it like a true hybrid with future. Perfect. This could be a cool gear set. If you take it out of normal standard mode, because otherwise you're kind of contemplating like the memento against your skill build or combined arms or tech support. And a lot of that's the deal, is that duration is pretty easy to get on your standard ballistic skill builds, right? Duration is pretty easy to get. You can get it from the memento, you can get it from Empress International, right? So you, with the skill health, I mean with the what do you call it? Just lost the word. Skill efficiency. So there's skill efficiency will get you skill haste and duration. The Murakamis, you got mods, right? So what my point is that with good skill placement, you don't need to break down and be worried about your measly, what, on average, probably like 15-second cooldown per skill. That's called skill management. And most of us just pick that up over time once you realize how important it is. Like in solo legendary, skill management is really important. It's half of your survivability because you're using your skills to pull aggro, to multiply your aggro pulling, right? So it's, you know, it's a really interesting thing in this game and important for you to learn skill management, right? It's part of this game, and that's unique because there's a lot of games that don't have skills integrated so closely to the gunplay like this game does. It's a big part of your, it's your shielding, it makes you invisible, whatever. And so normally we can just manage that. Is this convenient? Absolutely. You know, and the reality is that in most skill builds, when it comes to damage, are really easy to build strongly. Really, I mean, your skill tiers are doing most of the work. And then from there, with just one or two talents, and I got this kind of in an off-meta setup, but, you know, if you do run in a capacitor, I mean, that's a 60% power up. You run Technician, there's another 10% power up plus the skill tier. You know, so it's really easy to make a strong skill build. Probably the easiest thing to do in the game, as a matter of fact. Like if you're a new player and you want to feel powerful right out of the gate, go skill build. You know what I mean? It's easy. It's good for all applications, including legendary. So it's just like, you know, and it pulls aggro. It's actually more forgiving for new players because you don't take as much damage because your skills are helping you avoid it. So, and you can let your skills do more of the work if you wanted to, if you needed to. So it's skill builds are easy to pull in damage. The point of me bringing that into the conversation is that the fact that this isn't the strongest skill set in the game, it can be overlooked because the skill tiers alone are just doing most of the work on most skill builds anyways. So sadly, it's got skill haste and duration here. Now, I don't think you need the skill haste. I think that's a waste. But the duration is helpful because that buys you more time to help manage your breakdown of your skills, because you can easily miss that opportunity and accidentally be forced into a full cooldown, right? So the skill duration will help you avoid that, but you can just pick that up in a mod or two. So I think it'd be really nice to maybe buff up the skill duration and then move skill haste to skill damage. The retargeting system is pretty cool. You know, it's you don't really rely on it too much because you're too busy shooting and firing, but you're doing that passively, the retargeting passively anyways. So the truth is, this backpack is best in slot for this gear set. It's almost required. I mean, I'm not looking at the chest piece, so the chest piece might also be competing here, but without that influencing my rating on this, let's take a look at the components that we use to evaluate this stuff. How easy is it to acquire complete uptime? It's really easy. You just break down your skill. That's easy. And then how does it perform? Well, it performs perfectly. But you do have to keep in mind that it's based on itself. It doesn't reset all your skills. It resets itself. So it's not going to work with every skill. So that's both a good thing and a bad thing there. So that kind of makes it in the middle of the road. So I would say that for the gear set, it's best in slot. As far as overall rating for the backpack based on those three elements, I would call it good, because it doesn't work with every skill. And this is a skill gear set. Does that make sense? So if you wanted to use riot foam, let's put in a hive, for example. Let's put on a reviver hive, as a matter of fact. So really good example. So as you can see, we got 7 gear or 7 charges, right? So there's my thing. So it's deployed. If I crush it, if it was in the best case scenario, we'd get all 7 of those back. In worst case scenario, we would get nothing back. In a mediocre scenario, we'd get at least 1 charge back and then go on a regular cooldown. Let's see what we get. So we got worst case scenario, right? Because it says 0, or is it glitched? It says 0, but I'm not on cooldown. I don't know what just fucking happened. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no cooldown. See, that worked. But my thing's not cooling down. Or it's just so slow, like... Something's wrong. I think it glitched. It's not speaking volumes to the set. Okay. Okay, let's try this one. So 32 charges, right? All right. So let's crush it. 0. Yeah. And now it's on regular cooldown. Okay. So yeah, that's what we expected. So it is worst case scenario on hives. So that's my point. It doesn't work for every skill. See, now it's on a standard cooldown here, right? So if with the best case scenario, we would have got all 32 charges right out of the gate. So it doesn't work on every skill. So it's not going to work on riot foam. Will it work on fireflies? It doesn't. It doesn't, because you can't cancel your firefly. I mean, you can if it's like taking a long time, but it's rare you can, right? So you throw it out, you can't cancel it. See that? Because it's used, it's a consumable. So for consumable skills, this isn't gonna work. Can you do it for traps? Yeah, so there are applications, and there's great applications. The decoy was a big deal, actually. I'm excited to play with that one. And maybe we'll do it in the next live stream, because that's pretty cool. So if you throw out your traps, should work on the traps, because those are deployable. Boom. So if I crush that, instant back. And that's a big deal, because that's a powerful skill. And you also have shock traps and healer traps, which are yay. But Does that make the healer traps good? Is there a scenario to make the healer traps good because you can refresh them? I don't know. But that could make it infinite heals, right? That could make an infinite heal situation. As long as you have a couple of them open that you can crush. You see that? I mean, that could be pretty fucking powerful as long as you don't walk through all of them. I mean, there's some interesting applications here with this gear set. It's actually pretty interesting. I mean, let me see if there's a quick deploy on this one. There is. So you got a quick deploy on this too. So that means you can do this in combat. All right. So what I mean is like, because it can be helpful. Like if you were shooting and you're fighting, right? You're sitting here fighting and like you're in trouble. Well, you could just quick deploy and without really breaking from your fighting, right? And then try to shoot and crush at the same time and then quick deploy again. And especially in a team scenario where you're supporting a team, that can be pretty damn good. Better than a hive. Tedious, but better than a hive because you can keep deploying infinite heals. That's an interesting situation, I gotta say. I don't know how, we'd have to test it. I don't know how practical it is, but it's interesting. But yeah, so best in slot for the build. Like if you're not running this backpack, you're probably not running rigor at all. But overall, it falls into the good category because it doesn't work for every skill. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty interesting. All right, see? There's still shit to get excited about in the Division 2. 7 years later, almost 8 years. So cool. So let's see. How many have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6.5 with tip of spear, I guess. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 left. Oof. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and put the other 10 on a back burner because that's gonna take a while. But yeah, I'll probably hold it here. So I'll pick up my gear and call it a night. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting exercise to sit here and go through each one of these. I've used all of them for the most part. Rigor was so long ago, I mean, I barely remember Rigor altogether. And then Aces, I remember looking at it recently. I think when in season 11 when we were coming up with builds for that. But I don't think I liked it. But I don't remember it being bad or good. I don't know. We have to take a close look at that. What else we got? Foundry's a pretty good backpack. Ongoing Directive is going to be an interesting run. System Corruption's an interesting one too. Eclipse is great. Cavalier, we'll see. Future Initiative isn't horrible. It actually works. True Patriots might be best in slot. Hardwired, I can't remember. Does Hardwired require the backpack or the chest? I think Hardwired is kind of like Rigor. Like if you're not running one of these, then you're not running it at all. But yeah, really interesting how this breaks down. Yeah, doesn't it extend? Is that the one, Grumpy, where it extends the hand? The application of the additional damage to more shots? Is that what it does? Or is that the chest? Yeah, so it's the bag evil. Okay, yeah, that's good. I'm gonna have to craft Hardwired too. So Hardwired and Rigor are those sets that I don't save because of stash space issues. So I have a whole character dedicated to just gear sets, and it overflows to 2 other characters almost, at least one. So I have one character completely dedicated. That's all the character carries is gear sets. And you'll find gear sets on my main character, and you'll also find gear sets in my inventory. That's how many gear set pieces I have. And so, yeah, so rigor and hardwired, I don't maintain any of them just because I don't have the space to. Hardwired, I've never really been a fan of hardwired. I mean, I don't think I've used it since like really early in the game, like probably like somewhere between like TU4 and TU6 or some shit like that. That's how long ago, but some people really like it. It does have that infinite use case, you know, where you can refresh things. I think it's the Hive that gets really popular, right? Refreshing your Hive instantly is not the one. No, it's dropping the Hive and picking it up refreshes your other skill. It's basically like rigor, except instead of refreshing itself, it refreshes the other one, right? Isn't that interesting? It's like the opposite of what rigor does. Might just see if I can craft that backpack real quick. I know you can. Hardwired, yeah. That's one of the reasons why I don't keep them too, is because they're so easy to craft. So yeah, whenever you use or cancel a skill, your other skill's cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds, which is huge. And then decrease feedback loop cooldown from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. So it's not required, but damn helpful. I see your point. And then let's look at the chest piece here. Well, I don't want to craft a stupid chest piece. But chest is more damage. Thank you, bro. I'll craft it in just so I can talk about it. Yeah. I'll keep it. Because it's helpful to know if sometimes, like Heartbreakers is that situation, like the combination of the chest and the backpack makes the backpack even better. Don't you guys think? Because the chest piece increases the stacks and then you're getting 200% of that. So it just becomes this beast of a thing. And so that's why it's hard to ignore what the chest is doing. You got to know, is it complementing it or is it completely different? In this case, it's completely different, really, I would say. I mean, except for the cooldown factor. So you're basically getting this more often because of the backpack. So the backpack complements the chest. The chest has nothing to do with the backpack, basically. So that's good to know. Okay. Yeah. Cool, folks. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging with me tonight. So I'm going to call it quits for now. And then maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I'm working on a couple of things right now. So I am trying to get my feet wet on the Starfield side of things, enjoying that, and got some interesting feedback for you guys. And I think it'll come from a different perspective than what you might be seeing out there. I think my review is going to be a little bit different. So I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed a lot of the reviews are coming from Bethesda, heavily Bethesda experienced people. And I feel like that sways a lot of the reviews and how relatable it is. You know, because everybody's like, oh, it's like Oblivion and Skyrim put together, meshed up with Fallout. And it's just like, but what if you've never played any of those games? What does that really tell me? You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people stand on the fence if they're not familiar with the reputation of Bethesda. You know, so, you know, I think I'm going to come at it from a little bit of a different angle and be like, how much does that influence your ability to buy this game? And how are you evaluating this game if you don't have that kind of experience? What about these reviews are helping you? You know, and it's going to be written in the margins of the reviews, right? Because you all have unique experiences in your gaming and we've all made your mistakes in the past that influences you. But it's usually comes down to one or two things. The hype gets you interested, but what makes you commit, I find, is usually one or two things. What is it? You know, what? And it's not the same answer for everybody, right? But for me, it's intense action and the lore and a lot of about the environment that I'm spending all my time in. You know what I mean? And then you got your quality of life shit too that comes in the back end. So, you know, but one of those things really has to win you over to make the leap, you know? So, yeah, anyways, everybody's a little bit different. So look forward to bringing that to you guys. So, and I'm probably a couple of days away. I'm really spending my time on it because I want it to be meaningful to you, to the entire community, because it's a big decision. This is a big game. I do believe it's gonna be a game that will be seen for years and conversations for years. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, and what Bethesda's got going on here, I think it's pretty damn interesting. There's so many different elements to it that can be built upon. It's its own world, you know, and and it's a strong enough release that it should be interesting to you guys, you know, because it didn't come out of this shoot in a crappy situation. It came out pretty damn good. We're beyond that. Everybody's agreed on that, right? I mean, the biggest naysayers are saying 5. IGN gave it a 7. That's a goddamn good review. And I related to everything that guy said. You know? Builds for first time summit runs. I would run a Heartbreaker build, actually. Yeah. Yeah, no skills required. Go back to that in the same stream, Ronaldo. I put together a real quick Heartbreaker build. Really easy to farm. Basic pieces, no exotics. It's always my recommendation for new players anyways, whether it's summit or anything else. But if you're talking all directive summit run, well, that's a different conversation. You're gonna wanna go headshots. Fewest bullets possible. All right, everybody, have a good night. Catch you in a bit.